nicely as we get closer and closer to kick-off. Arsenal against Wigan in the FA Cup, and it is the Latics who will get us underway, going from right to left as we look in this first 45 minutes. Arsenal in their traditional red shirts with white shorts, white sleeves and red socks. Wigan Athletic in a dark blue kit this afternoon. Bukayo Saka is out there and starting for Arsenal.
Calafiori.
Late change to the Arsenal lineup from the advertised team sheet. So Calafiori was meant to start this game. Instead, Saka has come in for him. And it's Arsenal with the early possession. Long ball forward, headed out into touch by Wigan Athletic, by Williamson at the back. So, not the ideal preparations for Mikel Arteta then, Emerson, that he's been forced into a change before the game even started.
No, not entirely. Obviously, not a bad replacement to bring Saka in. I think he's playing centre midfield. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does in that position.
Yeah, I'm sure Wigan would rather he wasn't out there on the field, but slightly different position for Bukayo Saka than his traditional one for Arsenal here from the start. And it is Wigan on the attack down the right-hand side in the early stages. Opportunity perhaps to get across into the penalty area. Let's see what they can deliver from that right-hand side. Not a lot is the answer. Arsenal try and bring the ball away, but they've given the possession away again to Wigan. Rain teaming down in North London. Can see it dropping. We're just underneath the overarch of the top tier here, so you can see just a few rows in front of us where the rain is coming down and hitting the supporters and the players out there on the turf. Fortunately, myself and Emerson well wrapped up and covered up as Arsenal bring the ball out from the back. So Kepa in goal, who's never won the FA Cup, all in yellow. Twice a runner-up with Chelsea. Plenty of other trophies in his cabinet, of course. This will be one he'll want to add. In fact, there's only one player in this Arsenal squad who's actually won the FA Cup with Arsenal. That's Saka. Obviously, Eberechi Eze won it with Crystal Palace last season, and Gabriel Jesus with Manchester City. But Wigan actually have as many players who've won the FA Cup with Arsenal in their squad as Arsenal do, because they've got Matt Smith on the bench, of course, who was also on the bench alongside Saka when Arsenal won the trophy during COVID in 2020. Not only that, Wigan can boast 2 FA Cup winners on their bench, because they've also got Callum McManaman, of course, who was an old teammate of yours, Emerson, in the glory days.
Yep, a fantastic player he was.
Back at the club for a third spell now, 34 years old. I'm sure he'll be desperate to get on the field and have an impact on this one, but the initial priority for Wigan is to stay in the game against what Pep Guardiola recently called the best team in the world right now. Arsenal, top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League as well, and through to the Carabao Cup final. It's far too early to start talking about quadruples, but they are certainly on course to win something this season. It really is a question of how many. Madueke's missed out on the possession here, so it's out for a Wigan Athletic throw-in on their left-hand side, round about level with the edge of the penalty area, which Morgan Fox with number 3 on his back will take. Infield it goes, up in the air from Wigan as they try and clear their lines. Weir it was who skied it into the North London floodlights, and then back down it dropped. Arsenal with the ball on the halfway line. Saliba's going to watch this one all the way back to Kepa. It's not been the most comfortable of starts from Arsenal. You expected them to almost be on the front foot right from the off, Emerson, but if anything, Wigan Athletic have actually I won't go as far as say rattled them, but certainly asked them a couple of questions.
Yeah, it's not going to be hopefully not going to be an easy game for Arsenal. Wigan's gone on the front foot. They took the ball against Arsenal and put them under pressure, and they were very, very organised, so hopefully it continue.
That's the voice of Emerson Boyce on BBC Radio Manchester. Arsenal 0, Wigan 0 in the FA Cup. Earlier, Leeds beat Birmingham after a penalty shootout. Long ball forward, looking for Madueke again. Too much on it, goes all the way through to Sam Tickle in the Wigan Athletic goal in his green goalkeeping strip with pink piping down the sides. Left-footed goal kick downfield from him. Long one, immediately trying to get Wigan on the front foot again. Arsenal control it just outside the penalty area. And here is Saka in that less familiar central midfield role with his back to goal, able to hold off the pressure and pick out a teammate. He's actually done really well there, Saka. Just a little bit of evidence that a class player can play just about anywhere. Going to take this free kick quickly, looking for the early run. Arsenal can't pick it out. Well watched and away at the back by Wigan. 5 minutes gone. Good start from Glenn Whelan and Graham Barrow's team. It's Whelan who's down there in the technical area at the moment. Mikel Arteta is out there as well in his black overcoat. Going to get very damp this afternoon if you stay out there as the rain continues to fall. We're going to have the ball at the back. 0-0. If you're wanting to hear the Wigan Warriors game, of course, they're away at Castleford in the opening weekend of Super League. That is online right now. You can hear the second half via the BBC Sport website and app. Warriors currently leading by 26 points to 10 there. Here come Arsenal looking for the breakthrough in the FA Cup. They're into the penalty area. Opportunity for Jesus. Cuts inside onto his left foot, goes back out onto his right, and the defender's able to get a challenge in and knock the ball away. Should have took the opportunity when he had it, Emerson.
Yeah, he's a very skillful player. He got into the box, tried to chop the ball inside and outside, but the defender done really, really well to watch the ball and make the tackle.
Arsenal are spreading the play though, getting it out wide to Madueke on this right hand side, and that's causing Wigan a few problems. He's up to the edge of the penalty area again. Infield it goes to Eze. Right foot shot from him. Took a deflection on its way through. It's gone behind for a corner. It was one of them. He stuck out a leg. The defender could have gone absolutely anywhere. Definitely took a touch on its way through. I don't think it was on target from Eze. He kind of scuffed his shot a little bit. Wigan defender got the last touch. Saka moved out of the way, and it's behind for an Arsenal corner.
It'll be interesting now to see how Wigan do. They started the game very, very well. It's interesting to see how Sam Tickle does as well. He's a fantastic, promising young goalkeeper. I'm sure Arsenal were after him a few years back, so it'll be interesting to see how it does. First corner kick, and hopefully Wigan can defend it.
Yeah, he's been linked with a move ever since Sean Maloney was the Wigan boss. Clubs in the Championship and the Premier League have been keeping tabs on him. Made some incredible saves in League One. And despite Wigan's struggles, he has been one of the bright spots for them in recent seasons. And he's got a corner kick to defend here, and he has to deal with the Arsenal threat from set pieces. It's taken short into the feet of Saka on that left-hand side. Now back to the edge of the penalty area, trying to work an angle for a shot, which does come in left-footed. It's over the bar. Good effort from Arsenal. They played the corner short. That caught everyone unawares, really, and eventually the left foot shot came in from Miles Lewis-Skelly just inside the penalty area. Decided to take it on himself. It was over the bar. Not by that much, but I don't think Sam Tickle was ever too worried.
No, I think Wigan be happy it was a short corner. I think they'll be. Everybody talk about Arsenal set pieces, and I'm thinking Wigan were happy that they took it short.
Yeah, it's one less thing to have to worry about, isn't it? If they don't put it into that body, that sea of bodies right inside the penalty area. It's been such a profitable attacking weapon for Arsenal all season long. They've got the ball on the halfway line here with Madueke. They've actually scored more set-piece goals than anyone else in the FA Cup this season, Arsenal. They've only played one game so far. Beat Portsmouth 4-1, and every goal came from a corner or a free kick. Here they come again down the right-hand side with Madueke. Overlap outside him. He tries to pick out Ben White. Overhits it behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, I think Wigan at the moment keeping everything very solid, very not letting Arsenal come through the middle. Arsenal getting a bit frustrated. Madueke's had a couple of runs. But Wigan started off the game very well on the front foot. They're trying to put pressure onto the Arsenal players and make them force mistakes.
9 minutes gone at the Emirates Stadium in the FA Cup. Bill Rice and Emerson Boyce, your commentary team, as Tickle drives a long goal kick downfield. Arsenal will gather the possession with Saka on the halfway line. Under pressure, lays it off. Opportunity for Arsenal to cross the halfway line. Madueke is the weapon, isn't he? They keep coming out to this right-hand side to him, trying to stretch Wigan, who are doing a pretty good job of retaining their shape so far. Arsenal patient, and probing and holding the ball at the back. Here's Saliba. Short pass from him into the feet of Eze, who's immediately put under pressure by Taylor. Gets away from him, slides the ball through, and here's Madueke, and that's 1-0 Arsenal. A devastating pass from the centre of the park. Eze slide ruled one through to Madueke, who beat the offside trap, and from the edge of the penalty area, left-footed, steered it past Tickle and gives Arsenal the lead. Arsenal 1, Wigan 0.
Fantastic ball from Eze. It shows him quality. The only time Wigan didn't go and put pressure on the ball, Eze got his head up, found a bit of space, through ball to Madueke, and a cool, calm finish.
It looked like there was absolutely nothing on, and as soon as the pressure came on, Eze just stepped past it, and what an outstanding pass, fully 30 yards, just inside the opposition half, up to the edge of the penalty area. The run from Madueke was absolutely on point. The pass from Eze was something to behold, and then Madueke just opens his body and with his left foot curls it beyond the advance of Tickle and right into the corner of the net. I mean, it's an exquisite bit of football.
Yeah, I think a big lesson learnt from Wigan now. If you don't put pressure on the ball and give quality players time on the ball, they're going to find that pass. And Madueke's pace, Fox has got no chance. So a great finish. Hopefully Wigan can start digging in now and don't let it affect them too much.
Yeah, not the start that Wigan Athletic would have hoped for. Having done all right in the opening exchanges of the game, they find themselves a goal down in the 12th minute, and Wigan are already facing a mountain to climb in the FA Cup, and Arsenal are on the hunt for a second goal. They want to get their business done early here. Well, they dropped points in the Premier League against Brentford midweek, which just opens the door slightly, doesn't it, for Manchester City. There will be questions about Arsenal's mentality, having finished second for the last 3 seasons, whether they've got what it takes to get over the line. They lead at the top of the table by 4 points with 12 games left to play.
I think Fox has got his work cut out today. I think that Arsenal come down on the right side quite often, with Madueke and Saka coming onto this side. So he's got his work cut out.
And they're on the left at the moment, and Madueke and Saka are 2 of those in the middle to aim for. We're going to won it back. Long early ball forward, looking for Taylor. Out comes Kepa from his penalty area to head it away to safety. I guess that's what's kind of how Wigan have to approach this, is just try and... They're going to come under all sorts of pressure, we know that. They just have to try and take their own opportunities as and when they come.
I think a tactical, they've got to do something with Eze. Eze's getting the ball at the moment and spraying passes around. Jesus was just offside there, but give Eze time on the ball, he's going to find that pass for the front players.
And we see that as Gabriel Jesus gives the thumbs up to Eberechi Eze, former Manchester City man. Appreciated the idea of the pass over the top, even if his run had strayed a little bit too soon. Flag went up for offside, so Wigan have it at the back. 1-0 Arsenal lead. Long one forward by Wigan into the penalty area. That's at least got Arsenal defenders retreating back towards their own goal, but they've dealt with it quite comfortably. Just muscled the Wigan man off the ball. Taylor up there all on his own, couldn't do much about it on that occasion, and Arsenal bring it away. Up to the halfway line with Ben White. Madueke outside him, just across the halfway line, and he's tight to this right-hand touchline. He's just going to continue to run, isn't he, at Morgan Fox, or in behind Morgan Fox, and just keep asking questions of the Wigan defender. Going to be a busy old afternoon for him. Arsenal in possession and leading by a goal to 0. Madueke with the goal for Mikel Arteta's side, and he is out there, arms crossed, watching from his technical area, hoping his side can put this game to bed sooner rather than later, so he can maybe rest 1 or 2 more players, with big games still to come in other competitions. We're going to have won it back inside their own half. Here's Taylor, he's all on his own. Where's he going to run to? Loses his footing as he tries to cut inside the defender. Well, we mentioned how wet it is with that rain falling, and when you're up there on your own, it's so difficult to make anything happen, but losing your foot in there just doesn't help at all. Arsenal have the ball back.
You saw the excitement he had in his eyes there, where he got the ball, turned out defender, ran at him, but obviously lost his footing. I think he was gonna push the ball and run as quick as he could to try and get past him.
Well, he didn't really have any other option, did he, Emerson? There was no one else within 30 yards of him. That's going to be the difficult bit for Wigan here, even when they get the ball to Taylor. If they're sat in this defensive shape, which they've needed to try and keep Arsenal out, but at some point they're going to have to try and get bodies forward as well, and it's that balance that's so difficult to get right.
This is the thing, you know. And it's Arsenal 1-0 up at the moment. We're going to have to come out a little bit, but they don't want to come out too much because Arsenal are a fantastic team and just finding spaces.
Manchester United women beat the London City Lionesses earlier on today to narrow the gap at the top to Manchester City to 8 points in the Women's Super League. Here come Arsenal with a cross in from the left-hand side, headed away again at the back. So Wolves through. Here come Arsenal down the right-hand side again with White. Little back heel from him. That should allow Wigan to get the ball away. But again, look, Taylor's up against Saliba, who's a difficult defender to play against at the best of times, but he's completely on his own. So even if he gets the better of Saliba there, he's then got 2 or 3 other Arsenal defenders in White, Mosquera and Lewis Skelly, all getting back to make his life doubly difficult.
Yeah. I've been in position. The goal looks very, very far away at the other end. It's so deep at the moment.
Well, defensively, Wigan have done okay, which might be an odd thing to say when they're a goal down after 16 minutes, but other than that brilliant pass from Eze, their shape has been pretty good at the back, but it's going to be so difficult to keep that up for 90 minutes.
I think they need to go on Eze. I think Eze's getting a bit too much space now in that midfield. He's picking up the ball. Unlucky again with that little through ball. Almost found White, who just drifted offside. So Eze's starting to make the game tick. You know, fantastic to see how good of a player he is. You know, give him a bit of space, he can find his fantastic passes.
I just had to look up at the scoreboard there and make sure it is definitely Arsenal 1, Wigan 0, because the website in front of me is insistent that it's still 0-0.
Might be a Wigan fan.
That goal definitely wasn't disallowed, it was given. Arsenal lead 1-0. Wigan have the ball at the back with their goalkeeper Sam Tickle. Jason Kerr, the Wigan captain, just in front of him, takes control of the ball. Now Tickle again, left-footed, driven downfield, too long for everyone. It's going to go all the way through to Kepa, who is out on the edge of his own penalty area to field the ball. It's kind of gone the way we thought it might, Emerson, in that Wigan really needed to keep Arsenal out as long as possible, and the fact that the Gunners have got that early goal not only makes things really difficult for Wigan, but it's also kind of killed the game and the atmosphere a little bit. Yeah,
I think Arsenal's one of them teams as well where they keep the ball quite a lot. They're happy to pass it around.
And then look for the crucial moment when they can, and they have here with Martinelli, who's through on goal. Oh, what a finish that is, left-footed. Well, he scored a hat-trick against Portsmouth in the last round, Gabriel Martinelli, and through on goal again. No mistake with the left foot. Brilliant finish across Tickle into the corner. Arsenal at the double, and it already looks a long, long afternoon in the FA Cup for Wigan Athletic. Martinelli with the goal, and it's Arsenal 2, Wigan 0.
Again that man Eze, get the ball through pass. Arsenal keep the ball, and like a switch, find a spare person. Eze then plays that through pass. Arsenal got so much speed in their attacking players that, you know, any through ball they're going to get onto it.
Tell you what though, that's 2 incredible assists from Eberici Eze. The first one was even better, but that one again, just to get the weight and the timing of that pass right is so difficult, and he's making it look like schoolboy stuff.
Yeah, he's put on a little masterclass in terms of through balls. Everyone knows how good Eze is. He's had a little bit of maybe unfair criticism at the moment. I know it's only Wigan, but he's shown how good of a player he is with his free passes at the moment.
Wigan Warriors have made a winning start in Super League. They've beaten the Castleford Tigers by 26 points to 16. For Wigan Athletic, it's going to take some kind of superhuman effort for them to get back into this one. 2-0 they trail in the FA Cup on BBC Radio Manchester. Arsenal with the possession at the back in the Emirates Stadium.
The problem Wigan's got at the moment,
They've given the ball away again, haven't they, Wigan? They're trying to keep things tight, but they haven't even been able to do that, Emerson. They've been undone twice by real precise passes through.
The problem they've got is they've got 5 at the back at the moment, and they've got the 4 in midfield. But Arsenal's so good at moving that ball. The 4 in midfield are just running around everywhere, and that's how Eze's getting his space. You've got Jesus coming, dropping short. You've got the wingers out wide. The midfield's rotating. Arsenal find it very, Wigan find it very, very difficult to get close to any Arsenal players at the moment. The first 5 minutes have done really well, but now the game's opening up a bit more.
Just seen a shot of Graham Barrow, the Wigan assistant boss, who's part of the caretaker team, along with Glenn Whelan in charge of Wigan at the moment. Ball over the top for White to chase, can't quite bring it under his spell, goes on the slide to try and keep it in play. It's behind for a Wigan goal kick. Well, Graham Barrow in the build-up to this one talked about how close you were to beating Arsenal at Wembley in 2014. Now he felt a substitution late on was ultimately what cost you.
Yeah,
you won't be enjoying watching this one today, I can guarantee you that.
I'm trying to jog my memory now. I'm sure we came here with one year as well, under Roberto Martinez, 2-1 with Jordi Gomez and someone else, a striker, one of our strikers as well, Santo. It seems a long time ago now.
Yeah, well, Wigan were a Premier League side then, of course, an established Premier League side as well. I think it was 10 years in the Premier League, wasn't it? And an FA Cup as well. Brilliant spell under the leadership of Dave Whelan and the management of Roberto Martinez, who has gone on, of course, to now be in charge of Portugal ahead of the World Cup in the US and Canada and Mexico in the summer. It's gone from managing Emerson Boyce to managing Cristiano Ronaldo, so
a little bit of
he's used to all the big egos.
Well, you know, I wish. But Roberto, a fantastic manager, fantastic tactician, and I'm really happy that he's doing so well in the national team now. April 2012 you came here, and 2 early goals from Franco Di Santo and Jordi Gomez set you on the way to a 2-1 win. There you go, so I've got some happy memories here.
Yeah, you and Gary Caldwell were both playing in that game.
Yep.
Sure he'll be watching on wherever he is today.
Yeah. Still
the boss of Exeter at the moment, although the Exeter physio did put something out on his running app earlier saying he'd worked with Gary for the last time, so read into that what you will. Does sound like Gary Caldwell might be about to leave Exeter to return to Wigan. We'll wait and see on that. First, they've got some defending to do. Arsenal into the area looking for a third, and they've got a third, and that's really unfortunate. Jesus' header was going backwards. It hits the Wigan defender, and Sam Tickle with a hand can only palm it into his own net. It will go down as an own goal, and that's really cruel on Wigan, but they were undone at the back again. Arsenal in down the right-hand side, cross into the area. Jesus couldn't finish. It'll go down as an own goal, and it's Arsenal 3, Wigan 0.
This time as a player, you start looking at the scoreboard, you start looking at the clock as a Wigan player now, and you're thinking it's a long, going to be a long afternoon. But, Arsenal showing how good they are. Everybody knows how good of a team Arsenal is, and it's just a matter of time now before the floodgates open. Hopefully, Wigan can pull themselves back together. And start, stem this wave of goals that's going in at the moment.
Yeah, it's Jesus who attacks the ball. He can't steer it goalwards, but it bounces up off him, hits Jack Hunt, who can only send it towards his own goal, and even the long arms of Sam Tickle can't stop that one going in. Here come Wigan at the other end, trying to get themselves back into it. Well, you heard Emerson say possibility of a penalty there as Taylor went down inside the box, not given. And play continues.
I thought that was a penalty myself. Player was straight through on goal. The tackle came from behind.
You don't normally go down, do you? Here could be a fourth for Arsenal at the other end. Tickle out to smother. Arsenal on the double, trying to get another goal. Eventually deflected behind for a corner kick. Well, Wigan trying to get themselves back in it at one end, but completely exposed. Long ball again from inside the Arsenal half, over the top. Taken in the stride, and if not for Sam Tickle, it would be Arsenal 4, Wigan 0.
The problem Wigan got at the moment is the defenders are not very quick so they can't afford to go too far up the pitch. Arsenal strikers are very, very quick, and they find that space over the top every single time.
Well, Tickle was able to deny Martinelli, and then Jesus' effort was blocked behind. It will be an Arsenal corner, taken short again. Into the penalty area they come, with Saka on the left-hand side, trying to get it onto his right foot for a shot on goal. Eventually he does, hits a sea of bodies, bounces out to Martinelli on the edge of the box. His left foot effort also charged down, and will bounce into touch for an Arsenal throw-in. Well, you say the problem Wigan have got, Emerson, they've got more than one at the minute. They don't score enough. They're leaking goals at the other end. They're too open, and they're 3-0 down. Yeah,
they had a really bad result last weekend against Peterborough. They lost 6-1, and that was the ending of Lowe there, the manager. They played in midweek against Reading, a bit better, but they did lose the game 2-1. So the confidence is really, really low. And the last place you really want to come is the Emirates Stadium now against this attacking players that Arsenal got.
So Arsenal 3, Wigan 0 on BBC Radio Manchester. And Arsenal hunting for a fourth goal before half-time. That, if this tie isn't already put to bed, surely would end any hopes of a dramatic Wigan comeback. They're coming forward with Eze again. He's in the mood today. Lovely little pirouette from him. Pass into the feet of Madueke. Smashed away downfield by Wigan, who can't get any purchase in this game at all, Emerson. I mean, I feel a bit for Taylor up there all on his own. I mean, he's just getting bits and pieces, long balls forward. Another one over the top, onside, into the area, Jesus, chips the keeper. Make it 4 for Arsenal. A wonderful finish from the Brazilian. Onside. Was aware that Tickle was racing off his line to try and close him down, and just dinked it over him into the net. It goes from bad to worse for Wigan Athletic, who are facing a hammering in the FA Cup. Arsenal 4, Wigan 0.
Yeah, I think they tried to play the offside, but we're seeing it time on time after again. You know, that ball coming over the top. Wigan needs to do something. They've got to see that ball coming over from distance. You know, what can you say? It's going to be we said it before, it's going to be a long afternoon for Wigan.
At what point does this become a problem? I mean, they will check this, of course. No VAR in operation at this stage of the FA Cup. So that ball over the top that Jesus took a touch, lifted it over Tickle. It will stand, and it's 4-0 to Arsenal. At what stage, Emerson, does this become a problem, not just in terms of going out of the FA Cup, but another blow to a team that's really fragile in confidence?
Yeah, I think from the first minute, to be honest here. You know, but it's basic. No, it's easy to sit up here, and I've been on the field where people have said it's, you know, you should do better. I just feel that long ball, they can see it from a mile away what Arsenal are trying to do. It's not really clever what they're trying to do. They're just trying to play the ball over the top, over the back line of Wigan. No, they got the pace to beat. No, they got the pace of the strikers to run into the ball, and Wigan are not dealing with it at the moment. It's hard because the players are not that quick, and it's the second part of it. They don't want to go too high up the pitch, but they don't want to go too far back. So they're caught in no man's land at the moment, and it's obviously Arsenal getting through quite easily. Yeah,
it's getting worse for Wigan as well. Jack Hunt has just been down with an injury, so we've got a break in play here. At least an opportunity perhaps for Glenn Whelan and Nicky Adams down there in the dugout to have a conversation with the players and try and get some organisation into the team, because this could get really messy, couldn't it? At the moment, it's a question of how many Arsenal want.
Yeah, I've been on the end. We lost a game 9-1 one time, and it was 1-1 at half time, so we thought it was all right. But you know, when the goals start going in, you know, as a player, you're looking around thinking, what can we do? And this is happening at the moment. This little break in action at the moment is probably helping Wigan just get a little bit reorganised, get the players talking to each other, and have a little game plan of what they can do.
Is that the Tottenham one? Is that right? I
didn't want to mention Tottenham at Arsenal Stadium.
Tottenham scored 9 once. They didn't win anything that year, though, did they?
It was 1-1 at half time.
Yeah, we won't mention it again. Certainly not here. We might get lynched if we do. So it is Arsenal 4, Wigan 0. You're listening to BBC Radio Manchester. Bill Rice alongside Emerson Boyce. Jack Hunt's afternoon is over.
Please welcome back Matt Smith.
and he's replaced by Matt Smith. So the former Arsenal man does get on against his old side, but this is not the kind of environment that he would have been hoping to come on in. I guess once he found out he was going to be a sub today, Emerson, he was probably thinking, if I can get on at 0-0 with 20 minutes left, maybe I could be the hero. But at 4-0 down after half an hour, it's a pretty thankless task for him and for all the Wigan players right now.
Yeah, but I think what Matt Smith will come in, he'll try and get on the ball, he'll be brave. And that's what Wigan need at the moment. Someone just to put their foot on the ball, get the ball, pass it around, take the sting out of the game. And I think hopefully Matt Smith can get on the ball and do that for Wigan.
Callum Wright's got on the ball there and won a free kick for Wigan Athletic inside the Arsenal half. 4-0 to the Gunners. But this is an opportunity for Wigan to at least try and ask some questions of them from a set piece. Free kick, 10 yards or so in the opposition half, which Fraser Murray is stood over. Right-footed delivery to come from him. Deep one towards the back post, headed away by Arsenal, up and out of the penalty area. Now there could be a foot race on if Wigan don't get to this ball first. Bit of hesitation at the back as well from Weir. They got it away, but Arsenal are so quick and committing numbers forward, looking for a fifth goal. Devastating play at times from Arteta's side. Here's Norgard into the feet of Eze. Another lovely pass from him to Martinelli. Building through the thirds. Arsenal working out to the left-hand side. Now, Wigan have got everyone back in their shape, so Arsenal will just reset and move the ball across the back four, going from left to right. Saka under pressure from right, retains the possession. Well, they've been unfairly at times talked about as a team that can only benefit from set pieces, but what we've seen from Arsenal this afternoon, admittedly against a team 65 places below them in the league, Emerson, but what we've seen is Arsenal are devastating actually.
Yeah, Arsenal always been a good team, good passing team. They just know how to win different ways. I used to score a couple of my goals from set plays, so I'm never going to knock set plays.
Well, you won the FA Cup with a set piece, so
well, there you go.
You're never going to argue with that, are you?
Nah. But it's their movement. Arsenal got the ball. Every player's moving around, receiving the ball, comfortable in the ball. And Wigan at the moment, even though they've got a little bit of possession now, chasing shadows.
Yeah, it's been a really chastening experience so far for Wigan Athletic. In the Six Nations, Wales have been thrashed 54-12 by France. That's a 13th successive Six Nations defeat for Wales. So their problems grow. France, the only team that still have the opportunity of a Grand Slam after 2 weeks of the Six Nations. Here, Arsenal cruising towards the next round of the FA Cup, which will be a welcome trip for them because they haven't had much success in this competition in recent seasons, not since they won it behind closed doors in 2020. In fact, they've only reached the fifth round. Well, they haven't reached the fifth round rather since then. Lost at this stage to Southampton and to Manchester City in recent years. So to get through to the last 16 would be yet more progress for them. I think we all know that their eyes are really on the big prize of the Premier League if they can lift that title this season.
Yeah, I think they do. They've got a good enough team now, and today not as much of a challenge as we wanted it to be, but Arsenal just showing their class. And you look at the team sheet they got put out today. It's a very, very good, very, very strong squad they've got.
Certainly is. They made 8 changes, but they've got so much quality, haven't they? Kepa came in for Raya in goal. Saliba came in at the back. No Martin Odegaard in the squad today. He picked up a knock against Brentford midweek, but just so much quality all across the lineup. Here come Wigan though. Taylor with a shot, saved well by Kepa to deny Wigan a goal back.
That was the moment.
Oh, that's a great opportunity for Joe Taylor, it really is, and you can see Kepa just urging his players to not switch off because they just allowed Wigan to pinch their pocket. Fell kindly for Taylor in the box. I mean, it's a good save, but he probably should score.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for him.
Cross into the penalty area again.
In the middle of the goal, clean through. He'll be kicking himself. He should have got hit the corners there.
They're playing dangerously here, Wigan, because they're committing bodies forward to try and win the ball high upfield, which is admirable. But if it doesn't come off, suddenly Arsenal are past them, and in a flash, a sea of red and white shirts pouring forward. So much space in behind that they've been able to exploit throughout this first half, and that is why they lead 4-0 with 10 minutes still to play.
What Arsenal are doing so well is they're keeping the ball at the back, moving it around, players getting on the ball, and as soon as Wigan starts to try and press, that's that long ball go over the top. And Wigan don't know whether to stick or twist at the moment, whether to go and press the ball or drop deep. So they're caught in half and half, and Arsenal's got so many good players that they can find that space over the top.
It's like a foxtrot or something, isn't it? It's slow, and then suddenly quick, and you're gone in a flash. And they've done it again here. Just a quick turn on the ball by Lewis Skelly, gets away from his man, can't quite pick the pass this time. So Wigan Athletic do have the ball back on the halfway line. Played off the Arsenal defender and out for a Wigan throw-in on that right-hand side. Well, we mentioned those 5,000 travelling Wigan supporters before kick-off. They are all there urging on their team. This has been a pretty miserable first half for them. 4-0 they trail. What can they change? What can they do about that in what remains of this first half here? 10 minutes to go until the break. Arsenal with the ball just outside their own penalty area.
I'd say Saka looks good in that midfield area. Attacking, I'd say he's more of an attacking midfielder in the central area.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see him there, hasn't it? Taking up a different position. I guess this is a useful opportunity now for Mikel Arteta to look at one or two players, try a few different things.
I suppose we're going to go again.
First opportunity, or first focus, is always winning the game, of course. They've won a free kick here. As Aimson stepping out of defence just collides with Saka, who knocked the ball past him. Aimson knew he was beaten by the ball, so he made sure he wasn't going to get beaten by the man as well. You can't get one, take the other, and he did that quite effectively. Free kick to Arsenal.
I suppose the other side of it is with Saka playing on this attacking midfielder on the right side. It gives him a chance to see how Madueke and Saka can play. I know sometimes put Saka on the left wing, but he got Martinelli, and Trossard's been doing really well out there. So interesting to see how Saka does in the centre midfield there.
I want to get their confidence up as well, won't he? Arsenal top of the table, but here comes Madueke down the right hand side into the area again, chips across over the head of Tickle and then over the bar inside the penalty area.
It's a great header, great clearance.
It was who was up there, who won the header.
Raphael, I think he cleared it off the more or less off the goal line. Fantastic piece of defending.
Tells you everything you need to know, though, doesn't it? I know they had the free kick a few minutes ago, Arsenal, but that's their centre back in the penalty area attacking that ball on the back stick. Raphael did just enough, didn't he? I think Mosquera actually headed it into the back of him, but just being in the right place at least averted the danger. But it's not gone, because Arsenal have a corner kick. It's going to be an in-swinger on goal this time, I think. Done with the short stuff for a while. Let's put one in the mixer and see what it conjures up. 4-0 they lead. Here comes the corner kick. Whipped in. Tickle comes and I was going to say punches, but he didn't. He almost juggled it up in the air and then managed to grab it at the second attempt. Immediately goes long downfield looking for Taylor, who's done really well to hold that up, and then picks out a teammate in the shape of Moxon. Keeps it moving out to Murray on the left-hand side. Fraser Murray, cross from him, right into the hands of Kepa. And that's the problem, is they've not had many ventures forward, Wigan, but they haven't been able to make the few that they have count in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed with that, because Santiago caught that ball, delivered upfield, one-on-one. Taylor was one-on-one with the defender, held the ball up really well.
Now, let's not forget the measure of what Wigan are up against today, of course. 14-time FA Cup winners Arsenal, lost just one of their last 18 games in all competitions. That was to Manchester United, of course, in that dramatic game here, in which they thought they'd got a late equaliser, only for United to then go and score another goal at the other end.
Yeah, that was a very good game, that one. And they say Arsenal show how good they are by bouncing back. So bit of pressure on them at the moment regarding the league side of it. But, they're going to be safely through the FA Cup at this round, I think.
Yeah, well, this will put their place in the 5th round draw, which takes place on Monday night at 6:30. You can hear that on Total Sport. It's live from the Moss Rose, the home of Macclesfield Town, and they take on Brentford tomorrow night. That'll be another commentary game you can hear right here on BBC Radio Manchester. Before that, here comes Madueke down the right-hand side for Arsenal. Into the feet of Saka. Left foot shot from him. Charged down inside the box by Morgan Fox, who did just enough to get it away. Arsenal increasing the tempo again. Yeah, commentary of Macclesfield against Brentford tomorrow night from 7:30. If you want to listen to that, just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Manchester. And you can hear all the latest Wigan Athletic news, insights and analysis as well on BBC Sounds. Just make sure you search for Wigan Athletic, then hit subscribe, and you'll be notified every time there is a new episode or interview available. Arsenal 4, Wigan 0 then. And at least Wigan have won the ball back in a decent position here, inside their own half, and an opportunity perhaps to bring the ball forward.
I think Fox as a defender here gets Madueke. You see, he doesn't really want to get too tight, but I think he's giving him a bit too much space, because Madueke's getting the ball to his feet, and the last thing you want to do against a quick winger is let them run at you. Easier said than done, because he's been doing it in and out in the Premier League as well. So, it's easier said than done from up here.
Yeah, well, you don't want to get too tight. You don't want to give him too much space either. So, damned if you do and damned if you don't. Here are Wigan, though. They have the ball with Moxon coming across the halfway line. He's got options left and right. Arsenal getting plenty of bodies back towards the penalty area. Raphael on the right-hand side, cutting inside his man. Left foot shot from him from range. Well held by Kepa.
Fantastic piece of play by Raphael. Cut inside, shot with left foot. And at least he tested the goalkeeper. That's a decent shot on target. And it shows you what Wigan can possibly do when they get the right opportunity. And as I say, it's got an end product at the end of it.
Yeah, it's probably as good as they've conjured up in the opening 45 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, it gives something for the Wigan fans to cheer about.
There has not been much to cheer for them in this first 45 minutes. The rain has eased, that will probably please them. Hopefully the trains home tonight are a little bit less eventful than the ones down here today. Arsenal on the attack down the left-hand side again. Here's Martinelli crossing to the penalty, headed away at the back, only as far as Eze, who's urged to shoot. Closed down on the edge of the penalty area, so he twists and turns, retains the possession for Arsenal, and then picks out Martinelli again on that left-hand side into the penalty area, twisting and turning, trying to get the cross in. He dillies and dallies and delays maybe a little bit too long. Eventually the ball does go in, but we can get it away. Well, we're approaching half-time here, Emerson. I just wonder, what is Glenn Whelan and Graham Barrow going to be saying to these Wigan players at half-time now? You think about that while Madueke chases this ball. He's not going to be able to keep it in play anyway. So yeah, if you're the manager of Wigan, caretaker or coach, whatever you want to call it, what message can you possibly give to these players at half-time?
Keep their heads up. No, I think they're going to half-time 4-0 down, I think, after 30-odd minutes. So they've done well getting to half-time at only 4. I think he'll say, forget about the first half, that's gone, can't do nothing about it. Let's go again in the second half. They showed that they, at glimpses, could have a couple of opportunities to get a strike on goal. Taylor should have scored. But it's a frustrating time for him.
Could be 5 before the break. Yeah, Arsenal pouring forward again. Here's Saka. Just couldn't quite bring that ball under his spell. Jesus played it early looking for him, didn't he? Couldn't quite find him. And Wigan were able to get the danger away. That's the cue for a lot of the Arsenal fans to make their way for the half-time refreshments.
And the second part of it's probably, sorry to cut in, is try and kick the ball. I think at the moment they've gone they try and attack every time when they do have the ball, which is understandable because they don't get much opportunities. But what they're doing at the moment, they're getting the ball passed around the back, just take the flow out of the game.
Yeah, if there's not a pass on, you don't have to attempt it. And although that is a brilliant one out to the right-hand side, and Raphael's into the penalty area. Now the cross comes in, headed away by Arsenal at the back, bounces out towards this left-hand side. Our view's just temporarily obscured as the Arsenal fans start to make their way towards the concourses. We're into 2 minutes added on at the end of this first half on BBC Radio Manchester. Wigan with the possession. Arsenal with 4 goals in the Wigan net in this first half. Wigan trying to change that before half-time with Moxon, the former Stockport midfielder, plays one out to the right-hand side. A little bit too much on it. Raphael can't keep it in play. Manages to prevent it going over the dead ball line. Oh no, in fact he doesn't. It has gone for an Arsenal goal kick. Thought he'd managed to concede a throw-in down there, but he couldn't stop it going out. So it's a goal kick to Arsenal, who get play restarted quickly with Kepa. First half couldn't have gone much better for them, could it, Emerson?
Yeah, it's I don't think they really come out of second gear. Really, it's been quite easy in terms of keeping the ball, passing it around, balls over the top. They know how to hurt Wigan. And at the moment, Wigan's got no real answers for him. Eze's been fantastic, as rightly so, to control this game. And obviously Saka on the ball at the moment keeps moving it really well. He's found a little position for himself.
And he's passed his man again here. Saka tries to play a 1-2 with Eze. He's blocked off, wanted a free kick which he didn't get. Arsenal have won it back high upfield though. Madueke and Eze hunting in packs to win the ball back for Arsenal. It's just been so comfortable for them on the ball, hasn't it? They've had time to spray the passes around and then suddenly just incisively play the killer ball through. Wigan have got to get a bit tighter without completely losing their shape. Otherwise it's just been too easy for Arsenal to play through them. So Wolves already through today. They avoided an upset as they won 1-0 away at Grimsby at Blundell Park. Sunderland also through, 1 away at Oxford United this afternoon, and Fulham have beaten Stoke at the Britannia by 2-1. Wigan Warriors victorious in Super League as well. As the half-time whistle goes, well, Wigan Athletic came here with no one giving them much chance of FA Cup progress, and unless we're going to see the ultimate FA Cup comeback second half, then everyone was absolutely correct. Arsenal so incisive right from the start. 4 first half goals have turned this tie convincingly in their favour. As soon as Madueke gave them the lead 11 minutes in, the outcome never really seemed in doubt. Martinelli added a superb second. An own goal from Jack Hunt made things worse for Wigan, and then Gabriel Jesus dinking one over Sam Tickle to add to Wigan's misery. That was after 27 minutes. From there they at least managed to reorganise and get themselves in some sort of shape to get to the break without conceding again. But it is a long way back for Wigan Athletic, who are probably already thinking about the long journey home. At half-time in the FA Cup, it's Arsenal 4, Wigan 0.
Thank you, Bill. And Emerson, they were hugely disappointing this for the Wigan fans, and everybody knows they were really up against it. Really tough ask. But they will have still had that little bit of hope. It does give you that glimmer of hope, doesn't it? The magic of the FA Cup. We've seen it done before, but this now is a very difficult ask. Sum up Wigan's performance though from that first half for us.
I think they got caught into 2 halves. I think they wanted to start the game really on the front foot, pressing, but the quality of Arsenal's movement, quality of Arsenal's passing, it undone them. Eze was absolutely fantastic the first 5-10 minutes, regarding getting the ball, playing them through passes, and Wigan trying to go close and try and put pressure on the ball. But when you got quality players of what Arsenal's got and the pace they've got, it's always going to be a tough afternoon for them. The plus side of it, Taylor's had a shot, and Raphael had a shot, to give a little bit of Wigan fans something to cheer about. But it's going to be a tough second half, I think.
And Bill was saying, I think about maybe 5-10 minutes in, that they weren't rattling Arsenal. He said he wouldn't use that word, but they were asking questions. So they've shown some capability. Of course, Arsenal got on top after that, but there have been glimpses and a couple of chances created, as you mentioned. One that they, really, they'll be very disappointed they didn't capitalise on.
Yeah, I think Taylor will be in the change rooms at the moment, kicking himself, thinking he should have put that away. Not clean through on goal. He had a good opportunity in front of goal. Either side the goalkeeper, I think he scores. And Raphael, a good bit of play by Wigan on a break, cut inside, shot with his left foot, a comfortable save in the end for the keeper. But when we used to go and play against the bigger teams, the manager used to say, try and keep the ball. I know it's very difficult against a very, very well organised Arsenal side, but they've got to try and be brave, trying to take the sting out of the game, and be confident to try and keep that ball, because you keep giving it away, Arsenal are going to keep coming, and you don't want too many goals go in against you.
Couple of texts and tweets here. George says watching Weir fall over against Martinelli is painful to watch. Brian said sad thing is Tickle will be off in the summer for a fraction of what we could have got. Stuart says big danger now. He's exhausting the players ahead of Wednesday by chasing the ball all around the pitch. That's the one I wanted to get your thoughts on, Stuart. Of course, you can't say that everything's over at halfway, because anything can happen in football, but there is obviously reality to it, isn't there? 4-0 down against Arsenal at the Emirates. It's extremely unlikely, I think it's fair to say, that they're going to turn this around. Is it fair then to look ahead to a game that's important for them on Wednesday, do you think, or would you not do that at this stage?
Yeah, it's a hard position for the manager to be in, because obviously he doesn't want the team to get embarrassed and bring the confidence down even more. He's also conscious about playing on last Tuesday, and then he got a massive game on Wednesday as well. So a lot of things to think about at the moment, and then when to do it. I think he might get to the 60-minute mark, make sure that the players are still in the game to a extent in terms of not getting too embarrassed in terms of the scoreline, because obviously that takes us into Wednesday with the confidence way. So it's a juggling act for the manager. Decisions he's got to make, but more importantly he's got to try and focus on this game and send the team out for the second half to put a good representative of themselves for the fans.
We talked in the build-up, Emerson, didn't we, you and Bill and I, about and Bill mentioned the entertainment aspect of football, and the fans want to see their team, whomever they are, give the best go, sort of play entertaining, play as if that they're putting everything on the line, words to that effect. And we know that fans do want to see that, and this tweet I guess speaks to that, from John, who says, I've seen some poor teams over the years, but never any with less bottle than this one. Is that a fair comment?
No, I don't think so. I think I think Arsenal are flying high in the Premier League, flying high in the Champions League, beating Real Madrid. There's a list of teams that they've played and outdone them. So Wigan in League One coming to the Emirates, low on confidence as it is, against a very, very, very good Arsenal team. I don't think many teams are going to come here and get a good result. So I wouldn't say bottle. I think the class differences you can tell. And then the second part of it, Arsenal this is their so-called second string. And I think every single one of them players will probably be a starting player for another team. So, it's always going to be a hard ask to come here and get a result. And all they can do is play the best of their ability and hopefully keep that scoreline down.
Mike says, obviously wasn't expecting anything today, but it is clear that whoever comes in must do a clear out of this squad in the summer. It's difficult, isn't it? Because fans will be feeling really disappointed. It's been a very difficult time for them. Do you think that would be a priority for whoever comes in? Is that something to think about at this stage, or?
I think that's football in general. It depends on the budget, because I think every single manager wants to come in and get their own players in and the style of play they want to bring. Whatever manager comes in will look at the squad as it is. They're probably already looking at them and thinking what we can do. Because a manager changes, there's normally an uplift in the players' mood, different formation, different philosophy, and the players that are not even in the squad will find themselves himself in the squad. So, it's when a new manager comes in, hopefully he gets that bounce. Because as soon as I get the results, they can start progressing up the table. So I'm more than confident the new manager will come and make a difference with his team.
Looking ahead then, more immediate to the second half here, what is it that you feel is most important for Wigan to do? We've talked about, big game on Wednesday, perhaps there'll be a point when they have to shift the thinking to that, but also don't want to lose too much confidence. It's a difficult balancing act, but what do you think, you would like to see from them in the second half, or that they need to do?
I think just go and play with freedom. They've got nothing to lose now. Yes, we talk about the goals that they might concede. I think Arsenal are going to play their game. And then, the manager-wise, I think they have a little bit of an eye on Wednesday. I think the two strikers will probably come on, Sadie and Costello, to give them a little bit more firepower. But the flip side of that is you don't want to be too exposed. So there's a lot of decisions to be made by the management staff. But hopefully they can just come out second half, give it a little bit of a go, keep hold of the ball, and take the sting out of the game.
Thank you so much, Emerson and Bill. Back with you for the second half on the way. Commentary of that of Arsenal and Wigan Athletic. Really, really difficult ask. Now, it's already a big ask, wasn't it? But 4-0 down at the halfway stage for the Latics. Second half to come. Elsewhere in the FA Cup fourth round, the results are as follows. Oxford United were beaten 1-0 by Sunderland. Their streak continuing. Stoke were beaten 2-1 by Fulham. Birmingham and Leeds was all square, 1-1 at the end, but Leeds went on to win 4-2 on penalties, and Grimsby were beaten 1-0 by Wolves. In the Rugby Super League, Castlefield Tigers lost 26-16 to Wigan Warriors. In the WSL, Manchester United beat London City Lionesses 2-1. So, second half on the way. It's 5:25.
The Joe McGrath Breakfast Show.
Is there any such thing as a good bargain anymore? Christine, who's in Ashton Line.
Can I just say that I've listened to Piccadilly Radio as it was in the day, and I'm still with you.
We're a bargain, aren't we, I guess?
You are, that is my answer. No, you're a bargain. I can listen to you on Freeview on my telly. I can also listen to you on BBC iPlayer or my Alexa.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what's a bargain. You just give us a great advert for free. Bargains all around.
The Joe McGrath Breakfast Show. Weekdays from 6. Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Manchester. Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
So we're at halfway stage at the Emirates Stadium. Commentary of the second half of Arsenal and Wigan Athletic on the way. The Latics 4-0 down, so a tough 45 on the way there. But what about Macclesfield? Can they cause another FA Cup shock? This time the Silkmen welcome Brentford. It's been a whirlwind month for the club, with interest from across the world now focused on the Moss Rose. So what's the spotlight been like for boss John Rooney?
You go online, you're reading newspapers, you're watching the TV, and you see yourself on there, you see the players on there. But no, it's something we've all took on our start and something we've all really enjoyed doing. We've had a lot of media around training sessions, around games where they wouldn't usually be at, and league games and stuff like that. But no, listen, we've took everything in our stride and something we've really enjoyed. And it shows when all this media type of stuff comes around, it shows that you're doing something right and that the club's going in the right direction.
On the pitch, has obviously the scenes, the drama, the way you got past Palace, has that given you a momentum in your league? Because obviously you're in the playoffs now as well, got a couple of games in hand on teams above you too.
Yeah, I think it has. I've seen it go other ways with other football clubs where they have a big result like that and then they dip off the league form. But as I touched on before, that was a concern of mine because I have seen teams do that. You probably have yourself, but for me it was just keeping the feet on the ground and telling them, listen, the bread and butter's our league. We can't slip up in our league form. And to be fair to the lads, they could have went into games thinking, I don't want to get injured and miss this game and stuff like that. But they haven't. They've played every game and the way they play any other game, especially the ones after the Crystal Palace game, and fair play to them because you can see it in not just the results but the performances as well.
From what happened in the third round, do you even need to give a rousing team talk, or all the emotions and the memories? Do you need to do it?
Listen, as a player, if you can't get up for games like this, then what are you going to get up for? No, but listen, I get up for it just as much as the lads. You know, I love game day, not just as when I was a player, but as a manager as well. It's the best day of the week for me is any game day, whether that's a Tuesday, Saturday, whenever it may be. Obviously, this one's on the Monday night, so under the lights, which we always like to play under the lights here. But no, it's one of them. We're just looking forward to the game, and we can't wait till Monday night.
And just finally, what will it take to get past Brentford?
A massive effort again. You know, we can't carry any players. We need all 11 players and 5-6 subs, whatever we can make. We need everyone in the minute like they was last time. You know, you're seeing not just the 11, it was the subs that come on and impacted the game and seeing the game out for us. So it's not just about them 11 lads who start, it's about the squad as a whole, which is starting to look really strong now. And you know, in games like this against top opposition, you can't be carrying anyone, and you know, we just need a massive effort again, and I'm sure we'll get that. And we might do that and still lose the game, but it's something that I know I can be proud with that if they show me levels what they showed last time. And listen, you might go and lose the game and get to them levels, but it's something where you're playing top opposition, so sometimes you don't get everything your own way as well in that sense. But you know, just to give me the effort they gave last time, you know, there's something I'll be proud of.
Can they reproduce that magic? That was John Rooney talking to BBC Radio Manchester's Alex Whittington. Now, a much changed Manchester City survived a couple of scares against Salford City to reach the FA Cup 5th round. Let's hear from Blues boss Pep Guardiola, who was chatting to BBC Radio Manchester's Josh Watton.
Pep, you're into the next round of the Cup. How did you assess that 90 minutes?
Happy to go through. The game was not good. It was a little bit boring. The best minutes after 2-0. Give big credit to Salford, how well Carl and the team, how defense, so tight, solidarity, but we didn't read the spaces where we were.
9 changes today. Did the players who came into the side do enough in your opinion?
Always happen, when you make a lot of changes, always is difficult, but we had to do better. We didn't read where the spaces were. That is the biggest problem that we had today.
Carl Robinson's just been saying how he appreciates the respect that you show to the FA Cup. Just how important is this competition to you?
How many finals, semi-finals we arrived in the last years? It's a FA Cup, you know? Even the Carabao Cup, 4 Carabaos in a row, another final this season. In this club, we try to inculcate in the mind of the whole club, not just the players, that every game you play, you have to do it well.
You certainly do. Right, well, talking of doing well, the big ask for Wigan Athletic. They're really up against it against Arsenal. Can they create some pretty incredible magic? Nothing short of a miracle needed here next in the FA Cup 4th round as we head back to the Emirates Stadium for the second half of Arsenal and Wigan Athletic in the company of Emerson Boyce and Bill Rice.
Thank you very much, Stacey. Yeah, it would take the mother, father and 3 children of all FA Cup upsets for Wigan to be in the draw for the 5th round on Monday night. Arsenal 4 goals to the good at half-time. So comfortable it could have been more for Mikel Arteta's side. And I don't think I'm giving too much away or being a little bit too cynical if I say I spent half-time looking at Arsenal's record wins and Wigan's record defeats rather than looking at the biggest ever FA Cup comebacks. I think that just tells you something about where the game is. You never say never in the FA Cup, of course. We have seen some mighty big surprises before. But if Wigan are to get anything from this, it would be an absolute catastrophe from the second half from Arsenal that just no one can see coming. We are back underway. Arsenal have made a change at the break as well. Bring you details of that in just a second. 4-0 they lead and they are on the front foot early in this second half.
I think Saka, come on.
Yeah, Bukayo Saka, who only started the game because of an injury before kick-off that forced a late change by Mikel Arteta. Came into central midfield. Lewis Skelly moved out to left back where Calafiori was originally on the team sheet to start. He didn't play and Saka came into midfield, but he's gone off at half time. And instead Arsenal have brought on Victor Gyökeres to replace him.
Probably Wigan didn't really want to see Gyökeres
Well, maybe
in time because he'll be fancying himself getting a couple of goals.
Yeah, maybe Mikel Arteta is feeling this is a good opportunity for Victor Gyökeres, who is Arsenal's top scorer this season, to maybe add a couple more and boost his confidence, because he's just started to find his feet in recent weeks. Slow start to life as a gunner, having come from Sporting over the summer, but 6 goals in his last 9 appearances, Victor Gyökeres.
It's amazing to hear that he's a top goal scorer with all the criticisms that he takes.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one, because I think somebody said no team has ever won the league with a player scoring less than 13 league goals. Now, he's Arsenal's leading scorer this season, but he's only got 8 in the league, so, and yet they're 4 points clear. So at the moment they're on course to do something no team has ever done in football history, which is win the league without a player scoring more than 13 league goals. But we'll wait and see how many he and the other Arsenal players get between now and the end of the season.
And he's just starting to score goals at the moment as well. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, he could easily end up with 20 if he has a real purple patch from here on in. 13 for the season, 8 in the league. Saka is Arsenal's. I think Saka has got 7 in all competitions. Martinelli has only scored 1 in the league, but has scored in the cups, and he's obviously scored again here today, so he'll be on to 11 now for the season. So there are goals there. It's not quite back to the old 1-0 to the Arsenal days, but this is a team that's built on a solid defensive foundation.
Well, that's it. I think even last season, I don't think they had a prolific goal scorer last season either. So they're getting the job done at the moment. As I say, the goals come all around the pitch, especially from set plays. But, you know, Gyökeres is starting to score goals now. And hopefully for Wigan's sake, he doesn't add to his account too much today.
Well, we're back underway in the second half. Gyökeres then has gone up top for Arsenal in this second half. So they've got Kepa in goal, a back 4 from right to left of Ben White, Saliba, Mosquera and Lewis Skelly. Then you've got Norgard and Eze, who was so incisive with his passing in the first half, in central midfield. Madueke, Martinelli, Jesus and now Gyökeres. So Martinelli is out here on this left-hand side now. Gyökeres through the middle. And Gabriel Jesus has drifted out to that right-hand side for Arsenal. As for Wigan Athletic, Sam Tickle in goal as Skelly gets away from his man on the halfway line for Arsenal. Chips one forward towards the penalty area. Well watched back to his keeper, and then a little bit nervy at the back. Well, Jensen Weir did the hard work to bring the ball down on his chest and stop the Arsenal man getting on the end of it, and then decided to play a back pass towards his keeper. Miss-hit it, overhit it, went past Tickle and squirmed just wide of the post. He'll have been fortunate to see it was not on target, because it would have been an own goal, but it is an Arsenal corner.
Yeah, a bit of nerves there. He was in control of the situation, brought the ball down very comfortably, but he tried to pass back the goalkeeper and obviously put so much weight on it, and lucky enough for him, it missed. It went on the other side of the post and went out for a corner. Yeah,
Weir is playing at the back now for Wigan, because Jack Hunt went off with an injury in that first half. So Weir, Kerr and Aimson the back 3 as Arsenal take the corner short. Cross into the penalty area is headed up, not away, still bouncing around in the box, driven in from close range, cleared away by Wigan, and the flag's gone up for offside.
Fantastic save by Tickle there. I think Jesus was one that had the shot on the turn inside the 6-yard box, and fantastic save by Tickle.
Yeah, it's headed back in. He is offside, Gabriel Jesus. Right call by the assistant referee on the far side. But on the turn, the former City striker, right-footed, swung a boot at it, hit it goalwards, and from close range, Tickle made himself big, got a block on it, and put it away to safety. Flag went up anyway, wouldn't have counted. So Wigan with Tickle in goal, then Weir, Kerr and Aimson the back 3. Owen Moxon has been joined in midfield by Matt Smith, who came on as a substitute for the injured Jack Hunt in the first half. Then Fox on the left-hand side, Raphael on the right, Fraser Murray and Callum Wright, the other two operating just behind Joe Taylor, who led the line up front during that first half and had a pretty tough time of things up front for Wigan. They'd have one good opportunity when the ball fell for him in the penalty area, a snapshot goalwards, which was well saved by Kepa, but just wonder if Taylor thinks he should have done better. Opportunity went begging, and at the other end, Arsenal, well, they were clinical, took all their opportunities. 4-0 they lead. And here's Lewis Skelly getting on the ball just inside his own half, into the feet of Eze, who looks dangerous every time he gets on the ball, the former Crystal Palace man. Just a little burst of pace to get past his man. He's the one that's really broke the lines and played the incisive passes, got in between the Wigan Athletic midfield and defence, made things happen. And they're on the attack again here down the right hand side. Arsenal into the penalty area is Martinelli, forced wide, tries to pick out Jesus, intercepted by Wigan, back into the box it goes. It's going to be a long second half this for Wigan Athletic, camped on the edge of their own penalty area. Not really much of an outlet at all. They've got the ball here at the moment, but there's just no pass on for them.
No, I feel this season anyway with Wigan, they've gone away from the passing style of Colwell and Maloney and Martinez, and they've gone a little bit more direct.
Hold that thought, because Jesus is on the ball just outside the area, tries to thread it through to Gyökeres, doesn't come off.
Yeah, so I think they're in between at the moment. It's come to Arsenal, you've got to try and hold on to that ball as much as they can.
Well, there was a growing frustration, wasn't there, in the later days of the Sean Maloney era, which might be one of the reasons that he ultimately lost his job as Wigan coach. Fans felt that the football was a little bit too passive, wasn't really going anywhere, but that was possession based. Here's Martinelli into the penalty area on the left hand side, flag's gone up, and they maybe just thought it had become a little bit too pedestrian and predictable, wanted something a bit more dynamic. I think Ryan Lowe tried to get them on the front foot a bit more initially, but in the latter days under him they were very, very passive and very defensive, and I guess that's why there is so much frustration right now amongst the Wigan supporters. I mentioned it before kick-off on Total Sport. They're crying out to be entertained.
Yeah, definitely. I think when Ryan Lowe first come in, Wigan put a lot of crosses into the box, there was quite entertainment in terms of creating chances, but later on, those crosses weren't really coming in for the big strikers they had, and they went very direct. Arsenal on the break again.
Eze across the halfway line. He was held up just by Wigan, long enough to get a couple of bodies back behind the ball. A couple of beach balls bouncing around amongst the Wigan supporters away to our right hand side. That tells you about how entertaining an afternoon it's been for them so far. Another great ball through to Gyökeres, first time strike, hits the post and ricochets out to the edge of the penalty area. He did everything right, Victor Gyökeres, took it first time, right footed, Tickle was beaten, it comes back off the woodwork.
Fantastic strike by Gyökeres. That shows you the power that he's got. Sam Tickle was beaten at his near post, hit the post, and lucky enough for Wigan, it just bounced clear.
Yeah, well, if he was brought on to boost his goal tally, Victor Gyökeres, he's been denied there, not by Wigan, but by a piece of wood. Ball came back off the upright, bounced away to safety. Hit it with some force as well, didn't he? Really thumped into that post.
It'll be interesting to see how Arsenal approach the second half, because obviously they're thinking of themselves. I don't know if they've got a game midweek themselves. I know there'll be probably a more or less a different kind of team, but it'll be interesting to see what Arteta does and how much they take the game to Wigan.
Now the game is won as far as Wigan Athletic are concerned. They do have a midweek game against Wolves in the Premier League away at Molineux, so another side struggling at the wrong end of their division. Not always the easiest place to go for night matches. Here come Wigan on a rare venture forward. Raphael's cross into the area is behind Taylor and well watched by Saliba, who steps across, gets the block on it, deflects it away to safety. Arsenal have the possession back.
A plus side, Raphael looks very good on this side. He's got the, I wouldn't say beating of Lewis Skelly, but he showed him a couple of times taking him on. It shows him a bit of trouble. and it shows that he's got good pace. Just his final ball wasn't the best at this minute in time.
He's been more of an outlet for Wigan though, hasn't he, than anyone else, which is what you're crying out for on a day like this. Arsenal have had plenty of them. Martinelli is one of them on this left-hand side. Here he is, cutting into the penalty area, cross into the box, headed away towards the edge of the 18-yard box by Wigan. Then they've given away a free kick, have they? Just a clumsy challenge that time as much as anything from Callum Wright.
So what I like about Arsenal is, you know, we talk about the nice playing, passing football, etc., etc. But you look at some of their goals, it's very much direct. The ball over the top, back to old school, runners on, through on goal, and got the goals they needed.
Well, you have to take your opportunities, don't they? Or you have to... There's more than one way to win a game of football, let's be honest. And you have to play not just to your own strengths, but to the opposition's weaknesses. Now, Arsenal have clearly targeted Wigan in behind today, and it's paid dividends.
Yeah, that is football. Doesn't make a difference how you score the goal, as long as you score the goals. And as I say, you see the opposition's weakness, and they exploit it. And Arsenal's done that. You know, they've done that excellently.
That's the voice of Emerson Boyce on BBC Radio Manchester, Wigan's FA Cup winning captain in 2013 at Wembley. Also part of the side that played Arsenal in the semi-final a year later, who were seconds away from beating them that day. But the modern day Wigan are, I'm afraid, having a bit of a hide-in here from the Premier League leaders. Arsenal have a free kick 25 yards out, which Eberechi Eze is stood over, right-footed from him, hits his own man, tried to curl it round the wall, right into the backside of Gabriel Jesus, was it?
I don't think he's too happy about that one.
Looked like a stinger, didn't it?
Yeah, he's still looking at Eze now saying, what was that?
Especially on a cold day. Don't want the ball thumping into you from that sort of range.
Not with Eze's power as well.
Arsenal still have it. Skelly tries to chip one over the top for Martinelli, cleared away by Wigan on this their right hand side. Great pressure on the ball from Arsenal as well. That'll really please Mikel Arteta. I mean, it will be easy for them against lower league opposition, and with 4 goals already, to ease off and let the tempo drop. But out of possession, they've looked so hungry.
Yeah, you know, they've got a way of playing. They close down the ball very, very quickly. You see it in the bigger games, and they've come with the right attitude. I think the other side of it is you've got so many players here who don't play regular. They want to showcase their talent as well in terms of getting in the starting lineup. Martinelli, Nogard, you know, Skelly. So they're all hungry to get into that first team, and they're showing it today as well.
So 4-0, Arsenal lead, which is a bit of a shock to the system for Wigan Athletic, who had won their last 6 away in the FA Cup, conceding just 1 goal along the way. That's been well and truly busted today by this imperious performance by the Premier League leaders. 4-0 they lead. But we're nearly 15 minutes into the second half, Emerson, and Wigan have done much better defensively to keep Wigan out, to keep Arsenal out rather, in this second period than they did in the first.
Yeah, I think I'd be happy enough. The management staff, obviously Gyökeres hit the post a minute ago, but they look like they're adapted to the long ball over the top a bit better now.
Arsenal are going to keep coming forward looking for goals though, and they're up to the edge of the penalty area again. Here goes Eze into the box, left foot shot from him, hits the side netting. Lovely run into the penalty area. Little kick of frustration after his shot went wide of the target. He picked it up on the edge of the box, slalom through a couple of challenges, and then left-footed with the angle against him, dragged it around the defender, but just couldn't quite get it inside Sam Tickle's left post. Behind for a goal kick, and Eze's wait for a goal goes on. He hasn't actually scored since that hat-trick that he got against Tottenham in November.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player. Eze showed us a bit of class there as he took the player on. Just kicked it. Sean probably went across the goalkeeper rather than near post. But he made this game look easy today.
Arsenal at the hour mark have decided it's time to make changes. Leandro Trossard is coming on to replace Noni Madueke, and William Saliba, having played an hour on his return, is also making way.
Goes to tell you what Arteta thinks about the game regarding bringing Trossard on and taking Madueke off.
Well, I think it's as much about getting minutes into people as anything, isn't it? And Salmon's come on at the back. A great experience for him to be able to come on at 4-0 up and play half an hour in the Arsenal first team.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can just imagine those Wigan players that they'll first look up and be delighted to see a player going off, and then they'll see the player that's coming on to replace them, just like at half time when they went, oh, Saka's off, great, oh, Gyökeres is coming on, fantastic. It'll have been exactly the same then when they looked up and saw Leandro Trossard coming on.
Yep, definitely.
Well, that's the quality that these modern day Premier League squads have. They're bigger and arguably better than ever. Arsenal into the penalty area with Eze on the turn, goes down right on the edge of the box, shouts for a penalty from the stands, less from the players, it has to be said. And Wigan run the ball away towards the halfway line with Raphael. Emerson, your thoughts?
Just seeing there regarding Raphael taking Lewis Scaly on again, giving a bit more trouble. Just seeing the replay now.
Oh, well, we thought we were.
Nah, I think he went down a bit too easy.
I mean, there's a clear tug on the back of his shirt and then an arm on the side, but it's one of those where maybe he's already lost control of the ball and he's sort of starting to look to go down, which might go against him. Yeah,
I think so. I think the initial shirt tug was possibly the foul, but I don't think there was enough in it to make him go down through the challenge afterwards.
Joe Taylor's afternoon is over. He's worked really hard for an hour up front, toiling on his own for Wigan. He's off and Dara Costello is on to replace him, and he's going to be involved right from the off here because Wigan have a free kick looped into the penalty area, punched away at the back by Kepa. Costello gets his first touch, retaining the play for Wigan, and then a ball forward and the flag goes up for offside.
I think Taylor will be looking back at that miss he had in the first half. They get many opportunities here at the Emirates, and he'll be frustrated about that one.
I think the assistant referee might have got that just right with the offside call. But so Dara Costello on to replace Joe Taylor for Wigan Athletic, and so, well, we heard a couple of Wigan fans at half-time, Emerson, didn't we, saying, when do you start looking towards the game against Luton on Wednesday night? I think the answer is probably about now.
Yeah, probably, yeah. They've done well. 60 minutes, 63 minutes gone. Still 4-0. They've done what they needed to do so far, Wigan, and hold out.
Eze turning on the edge of the area again, plays it through to Jesus. There's a foul inside the penalty area, surely. Well, again, players not too moved. More from the supporters. Arsenal continuing to pour forward. Cross into the area from the right-hand side this time. Stabbed away by Wigan.
The trouble Wigan's got to have now is they're going to start feeling fatigued. It's been a long, hard game so far. Arsenal, wave after wave coming at them. It'll probably get to about 75th minute and they'll go on and start feeling it. So we'll see what happens after 75 minutes regarding if Arsenal attempt on goals and if any more goals go in.
25 minutes plus stoppage time still to play at the Emirates. Arsenal 4, Wigan 0 in the FA Cup. Arsenal have had 72% of the possession in this game so far. They've been utterly dominant of the ball. They have scored 4 goals in the first half, in the first 27 minutes in fact, and Wigan have just had no answer, which perhaps shouldn't surprise us too much. They've struggled in League One this season. They're in the relegation zone, their confidence is shot, their manager has just been sacked. I mean, it's tough to come here when you're in good form, never mind when you're completely bereft of confidence, but this isn't going to help Wigan's confidence. What they are going to need is at some point, not necessarily today, Emerson, but at some point we're going to have to find a way to win, because I don't think anyone expected them to come here and beat Arsenal in the FA Cup, but they have to get themselves out of that League One relegation zone.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, I reckon a new manager will be appointed this week, ideally before the game on Wednesday, because they need a big lift. Here's just a day out in the FA Cup, but the real important games that are coming up are in the league. You know, they have to stay in that league.
Any idea who it's going to be?
I heard an interview earlier today that gave a little bit of a hint. We could be wrong, but I think everything's pointing in that direction.
Now, Gary Caldwell, odds-on favourite to return to Wigan Athletic. He has kept as tight-lipped as possible over the last few days, but it does seem increasingly like he is about to leave Exeter and come back to Wigan for a second spell as manager. Former teammate of Emerson's during the Premier League days, of course. What I really want to know, Emerson, is he was injured, wasn't he, for that FA Cup final? Just hold that thought, because Arsenal are on the attack here, cross into the area, headed away, or cleared away rather, by Wigan Athletic. He was the club captain at the time, right?
Yeah.
But he was injured, so you were captain on the day.
Yeah.
Was it your idea to let him lift the trophy with you, or did you want to do it on your own?
No, in the day, we see it many a times where the club captain goes up and lift it. It's only right. I was just happy to be up there. I didn't even think about who was lifting the cup. I was just happy to get my hands on it, and that's the memories that we got.
Here come Arsenal looking for another one. Cross into the area. He's cleared away underneath his own goalposts by the Wigan defender. Leandro Trossard twisting and turning this way and that, got a cross into the area, and it was Kerr who just stuck out a right foot. The ball went past Tickle. Kerr had to get something on it, otherwise Arsenal were in for number 5. He managed to steer it over his own crossbar and behind for a corner.
Very good defending. He beat the goalkeeper and he was just behind him to clear it away.
The corner kick for Arsenal, which is going to be delivered here underneath the crossbar. Tickle takes it. He's done really well there. He wants to get it downfield early. Well, what was Kepa doing there? He was up on the halfway line when Arsenal had that corner kick.
Yellow card for Skelly.
Yeah, for the cynical challenge to try and stop the quick Wigan break. As Dara Costello tried to get away from him. Well, Tickle spotted Costello one-on-one on the halfway line and went with the early ball forward looking for him. But why was the Arsenal keeper on the halfway line? Why doesn't he just stay near his penalty area?
Well, yeah, he obviously getting cold in his penalty box and want to be a bit of action.
These modern keepers, they want to keep coming out and getting involved, don't they? Yeah. That's the thing.
But the other side of it, just before this free kick taken, Sam Tickle's contributed quite a lot of assists.
Yeah, and that's another reason why he's highly thought of, Emerson. He's not just his ability in shot saving and his quick reflexes. As Arsenal come on the counter looking for another, and they might be in here with Martinelli. He's up into the penalty area, 2 in support of him. He twists back, turns across into Gyökeres, nods it down, and Wigan have got just enough bodies back there to get it clear.
I think Arsenal will be kicking themselves there. They should have made better than that.
They had 3-on-1 there,
yeah.
And somehow they all ran into a congested area. How does that even happen?
I think Martinelli was through originally. He cut back onto his left foot, tried to cross it, and Gyökeres was in the air trying to nod it down for maybe Jesus was in the box, and maybe not easy attacking, but a bit complicated, and luckily for Wigan they managed to clear it.
Yeah, it just didn't work out quite the way it needed to. So free kick to Wigan Athletic inside their own half. 4-0 Arsenal lead in the FA Cup on BBC Radio Manchester. Remember, if you are a Wigan fan and you haven't already, make sure you download the BBC Sounds app and search for Wigan Athletic. Then subscribe and enable your notifications to get an alert every time there is a new episode or interview available. The post-match reaction from this one will be on there later. Get the thoughts of Graham Barrow, who's down there in the technical area now, on this performance and what might come this week for Wigan Athletic. Although I'm sure he, much like you, Emerson, will be keeping his cards close to his chest.
Yeah, I think Graham helped, if I can remember rightly, he helped Gary Colwell last time he had a spell there. I'm not saying it is Gary if it does come in, so I'm more than sure he'll be looking to assist him again.
Well, in his pre-match media, I think Graham Barrow what did he describe Gary Caldwell as? Did he call him Braveheart? Is that a nickname he gave him, or is that what you all used to call him in the dressing room?
I think that's the nickname that he gave him.
Gary Caldwell came on in that late substitution in that Arsenal game that Graham Barrow mentioned at Wembley, and then unfortunately missed his penalty in the shootout. Mikel Arteta scored his, and he's now the boss of Arsenal, and Arsenal are heading for the 5th round here. They lead 4-0. Wolves, Sunderland and Fulham are all through as well, so they'll be keeping an eye on the 5th round draw when it takes place tomorrow night at 6:30. You can hear that on BBC Radio Manchester. Manchester City are in there as well after they beat Salford City by 2-0 yesterday. And Macclesfield of the National League North, who beat Crystal Palace, the holders in round 3, are also in the draw. They take on another Premier League side in Brentford tomorrow night, and you will hear commentary of that game too on BBC Radio Manchester. Arsenal have the ball at the back here, just teasing Wigan almost, moving it across the back line between the goalkeeper and the 2 centre halves. Dara Costello is relatively fresh, having come on as a substitute, and he's working as hard as possible to try and chase it and close it down, but pretty thankless task when it's 1 against 3. It's been a tough day for Wigan. It's been a tough season for the players and the supporters.
Yeah, it's definitely been a tough season. A little bit of frustration there from, I can't quite see who that was.
I think it was it Callum Wright? No, it was Moxon actually. Owen Moxon just clattered into the back of Norgard, just caught him on the inside of his foot.
You have to give him one. The closest probably got all game, so you have to give him opportunities, give him a little, yeah.
But you don't want to do, again in this situation, you don't want to do anything silly at 4-0 down. You don't want to lose any players to suspension or injury, so
probably a little bit of frustration. He's been chasing shadows all game, not be able to get close to none of their players, and there's just a little bit of frustration there.
You have to manage yourself through this situation. In Super League earlier, Wigan Warriors made a winning start to the season away at Castleford Tigers. They won by 26 points to 16. Rochdale Hornets also victorious in the Championship against Keighley Cougars by 24 points to 10. Here Arsenal lead 4-0 and they're into the penalty area on the left-hand side again. Cross into the area just over the head of Jesus, and Tickle again grabs it out of the air. Well, it might seem an odd thing to say, Emerson, when a team is 4-0 down, and we're 4-0 down inside 27 minutes, but I don't think Sam Tickle has done his reputation too much harm at all in this game.
No, not at all. I think the Wigan fans are probably saying be a bit quiet on him because he's a fantastic talent. He's shown today that he's comfortable catching the ball. Distribution has been really, really good, and he's made a couple of saves. So 4-0 down, but I think he's done all right in the goal, apart from the goals.
Yeah, very little he could do about a couple of those. Was incredibly exposed, of course. From here, Wigan Athletic have that big game against Luton Wednesday night, of course, in League One. Huge match for them.
Two of my former clubs, Luton and Wigan.
And then next Saturday, away at Stockport County, who are chasing promotion themselves. So they come thick and fast, and they don't get any easier. We'll bring you commentary of that game next Saturday on BBC Radio Manchester. For Arsenal, it's Wolves up next, so an opportunity to extend that gap over Manchester City again midweek. Before that, they've got some defending to do as Wigan put a cross into the penalty area. It's headed away, and now there's a foot race on, and Eze has picked the pocket of the Wigan defender. He's into the penalty area, tries a cross, it hits Fraser Murray. Now there's one or two Arsenal players there, I think, appealing for a hand by the Wigan man. Not spotted by the referee if it was. No signal from Tim Robinson, and maybe Wigan got away with one because they were caught in possession there.
Nah, I don't think it's a handball.
As they carried the ball forward, just tried to flick it past the final defender, who got his body in the way and got just enough on it to take away the danger. And that's the prompt, with 15 minutes left to play, for Wigan Athletic to make some more changes. So we're going to get 3 more substitutions here. Graham Barrow is down there directing traffic. Stephen Sessignon is coming on.
Wigan substitution with 15, Jason Kerr. To be replaced by number 5, Stephen Sessignon.
He's going to replace Jason Kerr at the back for Wigan Athletic. And then we're also going to see Joseph Hungbo
21, Rafael Borges Rodriguez.
Come on for Rafael.
43, Harrison Bertoni.
And Harrison Bertoni is coming on as well, who was Wigan's hero in the last round, of course. Scored the goal that beat Preston, that booked their place in the 4th round.
Owen Moxon, to be replaced by 44, Joseph Hungbo.
So Owen Moxon, Jason Kerr and Raphael make way, and then Hungbo, Sessignon and Harrison Bertoni, the 3 men to come on for Wigan Athletic.
Yeah, he's obviously got to freshen up, put some bit more energy in there. It's been a hard afternoon for the Wigan players, and now they're looking to just arrest some of them, the key players for Wednesday night.
Well, it's a really important fixture that now for Wigan Athletic. Find themselves on this terrible run of form. Dropped into the League One relegation zone. Ryan Lowe has lost his job. They would hope to have a new manager in place, I'm sure, before Wednesday's game. Well, they are 2 points adrift of Doncaster and really in need of a result.
Okay, a little injury worry for Arsenal there. I think White's gone down.
Yeah, another break in play here as Ben White is receiving some treatment from the physio. Just 2 wins in their last 14 games for Wigan Athletic in all competitions. And when you think one of those was the FA Cup game against Preston, you've got to find the way to get some league points on the board. Arsenal are going to be making a change here. Ben White is not going to be able to continue. So despite the fact he's back to his feet and able to trudge off the pitch, he is going to be replaced here for the closing stages.
To be replaced by number 36, Martin Zubamendi.
And Martin Zubamendi is going to come on to replace him.
I think Nogard's gone back into the centre-back position.
So Martin Zubamendi, a 60 million summer signing from Real Sociedad, who's really impressed in his debut season in England, goes into the midfield role. And as we said, Norgard is just going to drop into the defensive line here, I think. Well spotted by the former Wigan captain Emerson Boyce, FA Cup winning captain, of course. The only FA Cup winning captain for Wigan Athletic. Won't be another one this year after this result. So your place in history is still secured.
For another year.
Might be a long, long wait. But you never know in football, do you? No one expected Wigan to win the FA Cup in 2013. Just goes to show what a little bit of belief and hard work can do. You upset the odds. And that was one of them famous stories that will be talked about for years to come. Not just in Wigan. Captured the nation. Just as Macclesfield did when they beat Crystal Palace in the last round. Arsenal in the possession here, inside the Wigan half. 4-0 they lead. Well, it's been so comfortable for Mikel Arteta's side, but you wouldn't know it looking at him there on the touchline. Forward it goes to Eze, edge of the box again, slides it through. Opportunity here for Arsenal, perhaps as they break into the penalty area. Just got stuck under the feet of Trossard that time, couldn't get his shot away, and Wigan have got it clear, but only to the halfway line where Arsenal will gather again.
Yeah, it's been a mixture of the second half where Arsenal created a little bit of chances. Maybe the quality compared to the first half wasn't quite there in terms of the finishing, but I think Wigan had a pretty decent second half.
Well, let's be honest, the hard work was done by Arsenal in the first half, or the first half hour, when they raced into that lead. Once they got the 4 goals, the result was never really in doubt. It was just a question of how many they would go on to get, and they haven't had to put the pedal to the metal in this second half. Might be some disappointment they haven't kicked on and scored more, but they did come close through Gyökeres. Here's Zubamendi. Swedish striker did hit the woodwork with an effort early in the second half. That's as close as Arsenal have come to another. They're trying to play really intricate stuff right in and around the Wigan penalty area here. Eventually it's just a little bit too congested. They can't thread the eye of the needle, and the pass goes astray. And that means a rare opportunity for Dara Costello to carry the ball forward for Wigan Athletic. He's done really well down that left-hand side, and eventually he's upended by Norgard, and that's a free kick. And not just that, it's a yellow card for the Arsenal man too.
Yeah, they had little spells. Wigan, Costello done really well there, down the line. Brought a foul, another little set piece for Wigan now. Chance to get the ball in the box, and hopefully they can try and make it count, give the Wigan fans something to cheer to go back up north with.
We're into the final 10 minutes here. It's Arsenal 4, Wigan 0. Free kick though. Rangers lead Hearts by 3-2 into the final 10 minutes in Scotland. What a huge result that could be in the Premiership title race.
It's a big result, that is.
We'll keep Rangers in the hunt. We'll also keep Celtic interested. Here's that Wigan free kick into the penalty area, headed up and away by Arsenal. Trossard should be able to complete the clearance. He hooks it over the head of the Wigan defender, who read it well and gets there first. Gyökeres is going to try and run it away. He has. Oh, now he's gone down there, Gyökeres. And I think he landed awkwardly because he immediately reached out and grabbed hold of his sort of shoulder and collarbone type area. I hope it's nothing too serious here. The way he landed, as someone who has broke a collarbone, immediately said to me, that's painful.
Yeah, that's not a good tackle by Ainsworth there.
The good news is he's all right.
Yeah.
Free kick to Arsenal though. Did Aimson get a yellow card for that?
Yeah, he got a yellow card.
I think that's the right decision by the referee. 4-0 Arsenal lead into the final 7 minutes plus whatever time is added on at the end, although to be honest I can't imagine, despite all the substitutions, it should be too much. It's just delaying the inevitable with Arsenal 4 goals to the good. Here they come down the left, looking for perhaps a fifth, just to send everyone home with a little bit more cheer. The fans who have stayed in the rain for the second half haven't had the entertainment they were hoping for. It's always difficult, these games. I mean, you mentioned the 9-1, that you were actually one apiece at half-time, and this is almost the opposite of that. It's so often when there is a glut of goals in the first half of a game, you don't get that repeated in the second.
Yeah, I think also how Arsenal play as well. They're very controlled, efficient.
Opportunity for Zubamendi on the left-hand side. Cross into the area. There's the header. Surely a goal now. No. Tickle's made another remarkable save. Down to his right-hand side. Well, Zubamendi on the overlap. Lovely ball through to him. He had time to measure his cross into the penalty area. Met with the head. Steered goalwards. And again, Tickle from close range has denied Arsenal another goal with a strong left arm. Just got it out. Really, really strong hand. That's a brilliant save.
That's an excellent save by Tickle. He's not doing himself no harm at all.
Well, you mentioned trying to keep it quiet. I think there is no secret anymore. There are scouts up and down the country that know the qualities of Sam Tickle. The only question is when he leaves Wigan and how much the price is.
Yeah.
You can understand the fans want to keep hold of him as long as possible, and he is playing first team football every week, which we know how much that can benefit a keeper. We saw it with James Trafford, of course, who since his return to Manchester City has not been in the team week in, week out. Played yesterday in the FA Cup and talked about how keen he is to be a number one again. Here's a cross into the area again. Tickle is there first. Jesus was in there hunting, couldn't get near the end of it though. It's So odd that you're talking about a keeper having a good game when they've 4-0 down and were 4-0 down after 27 minutes. But it's been that kind of game. Arsenal so deadly in the first half. Really cut through Wigan, who just didn't have any answer at all. Eze's passes in particular just ripped them apart. And some sublime finishing as well from the likes of Madueke, Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus. Own goal in there for the unfortunate Jack Hunt as well. But second half, Tickler's made a couple of really, really good saves to keep it at 4.
Arsenal substitution number 13, Kepa.
And now Arsenal are going to make another change, and this is one you don't see every day. A goalkeeper substitution. So Kepa Ariziba Balaga is going off. And Teddy Setford is coming on for his Arsenal debut. So a nice moment for him. A more positive goalkeeper substitution for Kepa, who of course is always remembered for the infamy of refusing to come off once upon a time playing for Chelsea.
Yeah.
But that's a nice touch by Mikel Arteta, isn't it? With the game won and a few minutes to play, he's decided to take the opportunity to give a young player his debut.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, they don't know who they're going to get in the next round, so this is a perfect opportunity for him to come make his debut now.
So Setford is on. Tommy Setford in between the sticks for Arsenal. A couple of appearances for the under-21s in the Football League trophy already, but at 19 years old, this is his first appearance in the senior team. And he's going to have to defend a free kick here, which is into his area. He's underneath it. He's taken it under some pressure as well from Will Aimson. And that will be greeted with a huge roar from the Arsenal fans. Gets a high five as well from one or two of his defenders.
Yeah, it's a good take by the goalkeeper there. Under pressure, got a little bit of foul. That'll give his confidence a well or good.
Yeah, I mean, it was his ball. It was a free kick into the air. It was close enough to him that it was always his to take, but he did come under pressure, had to take it well, and he did take it well under that pressure. So Arsenal 4, Wigan 0, 2 minutes plus stoppage time to play. Your chance to have your say after the game. You can call right now, 0800 218 2255 if you want to have your say. How important is it that Wigan get a manager in place before Wednesday's game against Luton? Will it be Gary Caldwell, or have you got someone else in mind? And what do they have to do to make sure Wigan are still a League One club again next season? As for Arsenal, 4 goals to the good. Here they come looking for a 5th. Are they? And we have to say this quietly, but are they on course for the quadruple? Still in all 4 competitions. There's a snapshot. There's another save from Tickle to deny Eberici Eze, who's waiting for a goal, goes on. A couple of brilliant assists first half from Eze, but hasn't been able to find a way past Tickle himself today.
Yeah, it's great turn there on with Eze on the edge of the box. Controlled with left foot, swivel around, shot with his right foot, but another good save by Tickle low down to his right.
Yeah, Arsenal and Manchester City still in 4 competitions. They meet in the Carabao Cup final at Wembley. They also meet in what will be a blockbuster game in the Premier League later in the season at the Etihad Stadium. Can't help feeling that between the two of them, those 2 games could prove pivotal as to what happens. Arsenal with the ball with Eze again, just outside the penalty area, right hand side. Goes for goal himself, takes a deflection this time. Didn't take it goalwards, in fact steered it out towards the edge of the penalty area, and Murray was able to hook it clear for Wigan, but it just keeps on coming back here. The tired legs of Wigan are ready for stoppage time. The 4th official is out with the board up. 2 minutes added on at the end of the 90. Well, if it's 30 seconds for a substitution, how have we only got 2 minutes? But I'm sure Wigan will be delighted it's only 2 minutes.
I'm about to say, I don't think too many people will be complaining today.
No, not even the Arsenal fans, who are probably ready to get out of this rain and get into the warm. They'll be able to watch the 5th round draw tomorrow and find out who they end up drawn against. There is still a chance, of course. Arsenal and Manchester City could meet not just in the League Cup final, but they could meet in the FA Cup, they could meet in the Champions League.
Yep. And
they obviously still got to play in the Premier League, so there could be a lot more games between Arsenal and Manchester City before the season is over.
Yeah, there's a lot of games to be played between them, and ultimately City could stop Arsenal from having a fantastic, amazing season. I wonder if, we talked about the goal scoring of Arsenal earlier, and Gyökeres not really had many chances in this game.
No, he had one, didn't he, which he slammed against the post and ricocheted away to safety. We'll have to wait to see the replay on Match of the Day to decide whether he should have done better or not, but his goal scoring has improved in recent weeks. Here's a chance for Eze again, blocked and charged down.
I don't think it's meant to be for Eze today.
No, it just feels like he could play until Christmas, and the ball's just not going in for him today. But you have to keep plugging away, don't you? And eventually one does go in. Here's Jesus, who went through similar barren spells during his career, has always come good again. Arsenal have it on the left-hand side. Wigan defenders retreating. Lifted goalwards, headed away at the back, slammed back in and behind. There's a little apology there from Zubimendi as he decided to go for goal himself, left-footed from a really difficult angle. And the referee has seen enough. He blows his whistle and brings the game to a conclusion. Well, the result was never in doubt after 4 goals in the opening 27 minutes from Arsenal. Condemned Wigan Athletic. Mikel Arteta comes over to shake hands with all the Wigan coaching staff, including Nicky Adams and Graham Barrow down there in the technical areas. High fives and shirt swaps between the players out there on the pitch as well. And it is Arsenal who march on into round 5. Their quest for 4 bits of silverware continues. They will be in the draw on Monday night along with Manchester City and Macclesfield. But Wigan Athletic's FA Cup journey comes to an end at the 4th round stage as they lose by 4-0 away at Arsenal. A really tough day for Glenn Whelan, for Graham Barrow and the Wigan players, who were put to the sword in the first half, and despite a valiant defensive effort in the second 45, they couldn't even send their fans home with a consolation goal. It has finished at the Emirates. Arsenal 4, Wigan Athletic 0.
Well, thank you, Bill. I guess one of the positives to take straight away, Emerson, is it was 0-0 in the second half. Now, I think it's fair to say, Arsenal have got lots and lots of games in all the competitions. They too had to think about preserving themselves. However, that is a positive to take for Wigan, or is it not? Your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. The manager will go back into change rooms now. Whatever his team talk was at half-time, the players, whether Arsenal below par in the second half, it doesn't matter. He will point out that they didn't concede in the second half. They've got something to build on now going into Wednesday's game. And now, the new manager hopefully will come in, build on that again, and hopefully Wigan can, start putting a good run on until the rest of the season.
If we may for a moment, in terms of individual performances at half-time, I shared some texts and tweets with you, and there was criticism of certain players. In terms of who played well, particularly in the second half, anybody who stood out for you?
I think Sam Tickle, he's the goalkeeper. He's been absolutely magnificent for not just this season, but previous season as well. Shot stopping was excellent. The goals that he conceded were a little bit harsh regarding in terms of the quality of Arsenal. He couldn't do nothing about it, but I think he came out of the game, even though he conceded 4 goals, I think he came out with his reputation still intact.
A couple of tweets here, and if you'd like to tweet us on X at BBCRM Sport is the way to do it. You can call us 0800 218 2255. To text us 81333 or WhatsApp us 08000 321 333. Start your message with the word Mank. We're with you on Total Sport until 7 o'clock. Emerson with us as well to take your thoughts and questions. Now, of course, we're reflecting on the game as they exit the FA Cup, a really tough one against Arsenal, although we're talking about the positives from the second half. But of course, we'd like to look ahead with you, Latics fans, to Wednesday, to who you think or want as manager and what we're looking ahead to for the rest of the season. So we'd love to hear from you between now and 7. I'll give you the ways to get in touch again in just a moment. But a message here from Steph who says, are people forgetting Peterborough put 6 past us 8 days ago? Got to take the positives at this point. And I guess that adds a little perspective, Emerson.
Yeah, it was a lots happening in the week. Peterborough was a low point regarding the 6 goals. The manager changing. Come to Arsenal, 4 goals. Yes, it's not great, but second half was a 0-0. So we've got to take the positive out of that. Move on to Wednesday, and hopefully start progressing and getting the results back together.
I tell you what, we talked about the passion and the fearsome support from Latics fans, those who've stayed and watched back home, but those who've made the trip, over 5,000, as Bill was saying, to the Emirates. And one of the players has just gone over. I couldn't quite see which player it was because it was just from a wide angle, and passed his shirt to a youngster in the crowd who's just burst into tears at receiving that shirt. There's so much passion from the fans, isn't there? And they'll have something to be happy about with that second half performance.
Yeah, I don't think Wigan, ashamed themselves in any way. I think after the first 30 minutes, we started to think, what could the scoreline be? But Wigan came out second half, and they put up a good performance. The Wigan fans can turn around and go back home, and yes, they lost 4-0, but they'll say, look, the second half was something we can talk about, something to give hope for. I think, again, talking about the shirt given to the youngster there, it's a special moment for him. Not many clubs, not many teams in lower divisions come to our Premier League club, and then this is a special day out for him. So, yeah, it's a hard. First half was a hard watch, but they can take a lot of positive from the second half.
Paul says, I say this knowing we haven't really laid a glove on them, but we've looked so much better with a back 4.
Yeah, possibly. I think, second half again, we talk about how Arsenal didn't really, up the tempo. They could alwage go up a couple of gears. I think first half, Arsenal done what they needed to do. The ball over the top. But, the game is the game. I don't think formation really plays too much in it. The personnel on the pitch have to carry out their instructions, and a fantastic team like Arsenal, cut through in the first half with their pace and power. So, yeah, we might have looked a bit better in the second half with the 4 at the back, but I think the game was more or less over by then.
This is a good one from Mike Emerson. This is great at just, creating a different narrative, let's say, where he says, well, if not for the first 25 minutes, we'd be headed to extra time.
There you go. Yeah, definitely. You can argue with that. Yeah, exactly. A lot of positive you can take out of it. So, we're just glad, we was happy it didn't turn into a cricket score.
Yeah, because I tell you what, Emerson, at one point, Bill, you said about the floodgates opening. Bill said, "Oh God, this, it's going to be a really long day. It could be pretty nasty." But that was the feeling, wasn't it, going into half time? So, retrospectively, to think 4 isn't great, but it's not as bad as perhaps it was feared it could have been at some stage.
Definitely. I think the manager would have said at half time, forget about the first half, give me a good second half performance, and that's what they delivered. Forget about how Arsenal played the second half. They will go back in the change room now, and the manager can say to him, look, you gave me a good decent second half, 0-0 second half, didn't concede no goals. Let's take it on to Wednesday, and then let's see how the rest of the season go.
Let's have a look at what Chris has to say, because Chris said showed some character in the second half. I know they eased off a bit too. Let's get behind the lads on Wednesday night when it really matters. And that's the point that we made. We are obviously acknowledging the fact that Arsenal have got lots and lots of games. It was pretty much job done. It was about managing the game in the second half. That was the priority from their point of view, but still, that's something that Wigan can take from it, and it is really important, as Chris says, to focus now, as fans getting behind the players, but certainly for the players now to focus on, all the incredibly important upcoming games, of which the next one is Wednesday, where they host Luton at home.
Yeah, that's the most important game. Wednesday is the most important game here. This was a nice day out. But the result is the result. FA Cup, special time. But is out of the way now, and then they can focus now back on the league on Wednesday night. Big game, and then obviously a game again on Saturday. So if they can take the points away from them sort of games, I think they'll be happy.
The comment from the Athletic says, I think switching to a back four and getting new ownership could really work wonders going forward. Again, that back four being mentioned, obviously, you know, across social media there's been a few people expressing those views that they think it's been a lot more solid. Ian also echoes that. Thought they'd put past us onto the league now. And playing four at the back works. So another one there. Obviously fans in favour of this seemingly.
Yeah, I'm a mixture because I played a back three when I used to play in a back four. They've got the pros and cons, and you know, obviously it helps where they didn't concede in the second half. But you know, I think the new manager will come in, assess the players, assess what's the best formation for the players, and then they'll take it from there. He could possibly go back to a back four, you know, a bit more solid, because I think some of the games I watched, you know, Wigan got exposed quite a lot behind the wing backs. So, you know, with a back four, you've got two fullbacks there already, so that space is not there. But with a back three, you've got an extra player as long as you keep the ball. So, you know, it's pros and cons of every formation, but I'm sure whoever comes in will do the best for Wigan.
Well, we've got Kieran we're going to talk to in just a moment, but we've also got Ellis who's made the trip to... dropped out at the minute. All right, Ellis, we'll try and get you back in a minute. Let's go to Kieran first then in that case. And Kieran, there's a tweet here from Rob that says that was still a better performance than under Lowe. So you may have heard us there talking about there's lots of fans saying a back four looks better. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Was it a better performance? Is a back four better? And what did you make of the performance overall?
I thought the performance was okay. I think you know, it's hard coming to Arsenal and trying to get something out of the game. I think the real question will be come Wednesday night what formation the manager will put in, and then we'll go from there. You know they've been playing a back three most of the season, which hasn't quite worked. But you know, come the next game, the manager might put in the back four and it might be a bit more solid. So. But if they play a back three and they win, we'll be saying, you know, continue that formation. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with the next result.
Kieran, I'll give you a chance to come in on that, and thanks for joining us on Total Sport. What did you think of those comments, particularly about the back four, and saying it was not so much whether it was a better performance than under Lowe, because that's by the by now, but back four, the performance in general, what did you think?
Yeah, I think, well, that's been contentious, hasn't it, for, you know, the last few weeks about the back three. I think definitely under a back four we saw an improvement. I think we were getting in behind. Arsenal were getting in behind our wing backs far too often. The pace was killing us really. You could see that. I think all four goals were quite similar in the end. And then when Jack Hunt went off, you know, whether he's injured or not, I don't know. I genuinely think he just didn't fancy it in the end with the own goal, and he was getting run ragged. But when that change happened, we did look a bit more settled, and it's food for thought definitely for the manager who comes in, whether that's Gary Caldwell or not. I know Gary Caldwell plays the back three at Exeter, and it's definitely food for thought because, listen, we didn't pull up any trees, but we've kept the score respectable after a nightmare first half an hour, and changing the formation and getting personnel in the correct positions maybe has helped us there. So I think it's definitely food for thought moving forward.
Yeah, thank you, Kieran. And just stay there. I just want to bring in Ellis, because I know, Ellis, you've made the trip to the Emirates, so may have less time, depending on the way that you're making your way back. And I hope you're managing to get some shelter, because it looks like it's been pouring down there all day. But your thoughts on the back four and the performance today?
Evening, guys. Hope you're well. Well, I thought that the back four, it worked all right, to be fair, in the second half. It, like the other guy just said, then it was much more settled. I think the first half, you could just see the difference in class. I think, you know, they give it the best shot. They had a couple of opportunities, and that's all you can ask for. I think, like the last caller said there, the goals are very similar. And Wednesday night, like Boise said, is a big one. It's massive. Hopefully, if Caldwell's in charge, fingers crossed, we can get 3 points.
And ideally, would you like to see, obviously, that announced? I mean, it looks like things are moving very quickly. Is that what you want to see, announcement? You know, perhaps let's say tomorrow ahead of Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it as soon as possible, really. I mean, we're on the train back home now. It'd be nice if they announced it tonight, to be fair. Give us some positive news.
OK, well, I think we're going to be able to hear from Graham Barrow now. Let's just try and Is he ready? Let me just ask our producer. No, he's not ready. Okay, well, we're going to go to him as soon as we can. Kieran, Wednesday obviously crucial. Luton at home, really important game. Would you like to see the announcement come before that?
Definitely. I'd like to see him in charge, to be honest, if that can be possible. I think they're going to announce it. I don't think it'll be tonight, but maybe tomorrow. Gives him, a day with the players to try and get some information across to them and get them set up for Wednesday. But I'd like to see him in the dugout. At worst, obviously, with him in the stands, maybe watching while Glenn Whelan and Graham Barrow take that third interim game. But I'd love to see him in the dugout. I think now we've got the Arsenal game out of the way. It was a great distraction, it was a good opportunity.
Yeah.
But the league is the bread and butter. We need to focus on getting out of that relegation zone. And I think I've seen enough today, enough with the squad, but we shouldn't really be in that bottom four, I don't think. So, fingers crossed we can get it over the line and we can get working with the players as soon as possible.
And Emerson, from a player's perspective, how important is that? All of the stuff that's been going on, it's unsettling for players, of course it is. How important is it that before such a huge game on Wednesday, albeit they won't have much time with whoever comes in, at least they'll know, right, this is who's going to be guiding us, this is who I need to impress. They're going to lay things down really quickly of what their expectations are, the way they want the game to be played, the approach, etc. How important is that from a player's point of view for that to happen before Wednesday in the upcoming games? Yeah,
because you as a player, you want to know, a new manager comes in, he'll have his own philosophy, own way of playing, what he wants from you. Get him on a training pitch, he can show his ideas. The quicker the better. If it's too close to the game, then he can only talk to you. You can't really go through it on a training pitch. So from a player's perspective, whoever the manager comes in, they'll have a completely different way of playing to what they're doing now. So you just want him to come in, give his message across as quick as he can, understand what the manager wants from you, and then obviously try and put it into practice come Wednesday. And it's about being really concise, isn't it? Especially with so little time, you're not going to be able to build a culture and build, this entire thing. What you've got to do, I guess, is focus on the real priorities. Kieran, from you as a fan's point of view, who watches your side week in, week out, what would those priorities be? Because obviously we can't talk about, bringing players in, doing this and that. In terms of between now and Wednesday, what are the priorities for whoever comes in?
I think just trying to instill a bit of confidence into the players. The information you're putting across to them, obviously with conviction, but telling them that to believe in themselves, essentially, because the confidence is shot at. Let's be honest. And today was a bit of a free hit. We're playing a team that we know is better than us. But in terms of the last few performances in the league, we look absolutely gone in terms of confidence. So trying to give them that belief, I think. But also, let's establish a shape, whether it's 4 at the back or 3 at the back. But I think players in the right position to getting your best players on the pitch. Matt Smith tonight, I can't believe he didn't start the game, to be honest. He was obviously an Arsenal boy. He's got that bit of composure about him. And when he came on as well, I think he added that. So just getting your best players on the pitch, get as much information you can across to them as possible, but give them that belief. Like Emerson said, we're not going to be able to get much tactical work done for Wednesday, but we need to tell the players that we can go out there and get a result and just see if we can lift them a little bit, and in turn that will lift the crowd and hopefully we can get a result.
Yeah, another mention for Matt Smith, Emerson. We did talk about that in the build-up, and even some of the texts and tweets from fans beforehand. Remember, the one in particular saying we don't help ourselves in reference to him not starting. I mean, what was the tactical idea behind it? Do you think it was the right choice in retrospect?
I think highly of Matt Smith regarding the way he plays, controls the game in terms of getting on the ball. Maybe they wanted a bit more mobility and leg-wise, because even though he's fantastic on the ball, sometimes people do question his mobility. But the other side of it, they might want to try and save him for Wednesday. I know he had a few injuries in the last months or so. So again, they might be managing through the games. Just touching on a new manager coming in, I think whoever's going to come in will be itching to get in straight away, just so they can get their message across for one, but also sense the players and get them to understand the new culture, the new environment that he wants to bring, and get them ready for the game on Wednesday. What can you realistically impose on players? And that perhaps is the wrong choice of words, but what can you get across, let's say, in 2.5 days before a game that can
lift them, that can motivate them, that can give them that bit of confidence in you?
Sometimes just a fresh voice. A new manager comes in, first thing you'll probably say is everybody got a clean slate. You're here to impress me, and it gives everybody a lift. Obviously last Saturday was a bad result, and Tuesday, and obviously today wasn't the best, but a new manager will come in and say, look, forget all that, let's go again, let's make the fans proud of what we've got, and they start implementing their own culture into the club. So new manager want to get in straight away. I'm not surprised. I'll be surprised if he's not putting in by tomorrow, just to make sure that he's got enough time just to talk to the players, have a meeting with them and tell them exactly what he wants.
Kieran, we were talking before, and people have got a pretty good idea of who they think it's going to be. Who would you like it to be?
Given what's been going on, I'd like Caldwell. I think I was on Radio Manchester on Friday and I said a similar thing, but I think with Ryan Lowe, I think his biggest downfall was that he didn't understand the club. Some of the things he shared about the fans and the club, it was almost as if he was saying...
Sorry to interrupt you. If you don't mind waiting there and holding that thought for me, we're going to go to Bill Rice now, who's with Graham Barrow.
I think at our level they're preventable, but I did tell them to not... I think they're still waving to the families when the couple of goals went in, but no, I think in our position now, it's been a tough couple of weeks. That the players come out with credit in the end of the day, but we're probably talking about one of the best teams in Europe, if not the world. So there's no shame, and they're unrelentless, aren't they? The substitutions coming on. No, a fantastic football team, and I think we pay them the utmost respect, but it was just too much for us.
4-0 after half an hour. Were you fearing the worst?
I was, yeah. I'll be honest. I watched the game the other week. Exeter got beat 10-1 at Man City, and I think they were 4-0 down at half time. They probably only deserve to be 2-0 down, but this is, I played in games like this, but nowadays it's just a little bit more that these lads are at the top for the right reason. So it is a real test of it for everybody, but I think we've come through it okay. Our supporters are really good at the end, so as long as we all stick together, we'll be fine.
Just finally from me, will you be in charge on Wednesday?
I hope not for me. My health will not take it, but no, I wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't think so, which is I'd be delighted. So we'll see what the next couple of days brings, but it'll have to be. Imagine tomorrow. I would hope something happens.
Graham, how tough have the last few days been trying to get this team prepared for what should be a real big celebration to come to a place like this?
Yeah, like I said, when you start the competition in the first and second rounds, you sort of start to dream of these occasions, but there's a few easier Premier League teams that could have come out of the hat, but because, like I said, Arsenal can put out two teams in the Premier League that would do themselves justice. So we were really looking forward to it. I think just the last few weeks sort of dampened the enthusiasm a bit, confidence-wise, but I thought we came into it all right after the other night. So I was just so pleased how they reacted in the second half. I think that's a real positive. They showed some of the true qualities that they've got, and maybe we deserved a goal, but the supporters have proved that they're right behind us, and that's the key thing today.
Yeah, it might be an odd thing to say after a 4-0 defeat, but are there things from that performance, particularly in the second half, that you can take forward for the rest of the League One campaign now?
Definitely, that second half performance has got to be there Wednesday night, next Saturday, and for the rest of the season. Because it's not just about the abilities, it's about the mental strength, and that's got to be there. And I thought they showed a lot of mental strength second half, but they've got to see that they've got a lot of work to do to get anywhere near the level that the Arsenal players are at.
What we did see second half is when you switched to the back four, they were a bit more solid. They frustrated Arsenal at times, and in Sam Tickle, you've got a goalkeeper who's capable of some incredible saves.
Yeah, that's him at his best. I think he's he could go a long way, maybe all the way. He probably has to, for the modern game, just improve on his distribution, but that'll come. He's working hard at it, but he is a very good goalkeeper, and we're very lucky to have him.
whatever happens in terms of the new manager, are you going to be involved for the rest of the season? Are you going to be in some capacity helping out?
I don't know really, because we don't know who it is. So anything can happen this game. I've been there before. I just take what comes on the day, but yeah, I would like to think so. Hopefully, because I sort of help the club in other ways. So, but I'm not like I don't know, the boardroom stuff and stuff like that. I'm more of a training ground person and being with the players.
You say you don't know who it is, you hope it will be soon, but what do the club need? Who do they need in charge in terms of the character that's needed to get the club out of the relegation zone?
Need a strong personality. There's decent players. Nowadays you have managers, you have coaches, but he probably needs to be a good coach, to be fair. Be strong with the club, but it's not easy to say. But there's a lot of people who are good talkers. Some are good coaches, but we need when this team is coached, they usually produce. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Graham Barrow joining us on BBC Radio Manchester.
Thank you very much, Bill. Kieran, and we've got Chris as well joining us in just a second. Thank you for waiting patiently, Kieran. Give you a chance to respond to what Graham Barrow had to say there.
Yeah, I think it ties into what I was saying before about we need a strong leader at the helm. I think what he said was nailed on. I think he mentioned something about there's good talkers, but we need a good coach. I think that's absolutely bang on. And I think it sort of ties in with the Ryan Lowe situation. He obviously does, talk a good game, but I think some of the stuff he said rubbed off the wrong way with the Wigan fans, and basically that was his downfall in the end, and that's why it went quite toxic, because the fan base felt as though that he was disrespecting them in a way. So we need someone who understands the club. So yeah, I think if we're going to get Gary Caldwell, I do think it's a good fit. He knows the club. He's managed here before, played here. I think he's a better coach than what he was when he left previously. But ultimately, he has that understanding of what the football club means to the fans, and he knows that from a personal perspective. So yeah, I think he would be a good choice, and I think Graham Barrow will be happy with that as well.
And he seemed to say it's not doing the best for his health being in charge. I don't think he's too keen on doing it for taking one for the team, but doesn't want to continue to do it. And it's interesting, Kieran, because we often hear when it comes to managers about losing the dressing room, but you can also lose the fans, can't you, if there's not that connection and perception of them understanding what the club's about?
Yeah, I think that it kind of follows on, doesn't it? So you lose the players initially, you start to see that on the pitch, you start to see that they're almost not responding to what he's saying, or they're not delivering what he maybe wants them to because they don't believe in it. And then the performances gradually get worse, they turn into defeats, which is what's happened, and then the fans start to catch wind of that. So it's almost like a domino effect, isn't it? The two go hand in hand, I think, in the end. And I don't blame Graham Barrow. I think he's in his 70s now, and he's done wonderful service for this club before. I think it's his fourth caretaker spell or something like that. So he doesn't really need to be in this position. He'll do it because he's Wigan through and through. But yeah, we need to try and alleviate that pressure from him. I hope he stays in the club in some capacity. I think his experience and his know-how is definitely useful in some areas of the club. But I don't think he wants to take on the coaching for the next game.
Yeah, and Chris, thank you for joining us on Total Sport. Kieran's just mentioned about Graham, and sometimes they can be the unsung heroes that maybe don't grab all the headlines, but they're the continuity, they're the stability, the people who make the players feel comfortable, who check in with them. Not saying he does, because I don't know that personally, but they can be, Chris, can't they? So important, and therefore staying involved when there's a change of manager, they can be that steady presence, can't they?
Definitely, Mr. Dependable. He's always there when we need him. He's that thread, like you say, running back to it. Run back to when he was a player first of all, but at the minute, if we're talking about today being the FA Cup, running back to when Martinez was manager and Caldwell was playing for him. So there's that familiarity there. If it is Caldwell coming in, everything that we've seen so far in the media seems to indicate it's him. And I think if we've got to talk about players coaching, I think Caldwell probably is the right guy. If you look at the way he's had his Exeter team playing, they keep the ball, they play well. When Wigan played away there earlier on in the season, at times they played us off the pitch in the second half, and we were lucky to sort of come away with a draw. And I think that's what we've been missing for all of... I don't want to go into sort of slagging off Ryan Lowe too much, but I think... I don't think, if anyone's honest and they hold their hands up, there was much coaching going on. There didn't seem to be anything in terms of patterns of play or not necessarily structure, but in terms of players improving under him. There didn't seem to be much in terms of players improving under him on an individual basis, and then that had a knock-on effect on the team. And I think ultimately there's talk of struggling with confidence or what have you. There was occasions where he came out and sort of post-match said, well, they didn't do what we asked them, or it's not the sort of thing that you want to be sort of airing your dirty laundry in public. And that sort of thing stays in the dressing room. So in terms of the conversation there about Ryan Lowe losing the fans, I think that sort of behaviour led into losing the fans. The results obviously don't help, and I think sometimes if the results aren't good but you can see something, you see an essence of something, then you can sort of go along with it for a bit. But the minute it gets to a point where the results are bad and it doesn't even look like we're not necessarily putting the effort in, but not even looking like we're playing as a team or going in a sometimes you can see slight positives in a game and you think, oh well, if we keep going at that we might get something, but there just didn't seem to be any structure to anything.
And that can be really difficult, Emerson, can't it? And I think Kieran and Chris there sort of explaining it from a fan's point of view, how they saw it from their perspective of what they thought was or wasn't happening with the players, the disconnection with the fans, what they felt lost the fans, and that's crucial, isn't it, to have them on board?
Yeah, 100%. The fans are the club. As a player, you're playing for them as much as the club. So, you need to be connected. If I even go back to, I know I talk about my former years so much, but when we was fighting relegation in the Premier League, the fans got us through it. They are our 12th man. So the fans are really, really important. The club needs to connect with the fan base. The player needs to connect with the fans, and obviously the manager that comes in needs to make sure we're all in it together. And I'm more than sure whoever comes in will be that's a priority for him.
In terms of the upcoming games, Kieran and Chris, I'll put this to both of you. They're all really crucial. So Wednesday, Luton at home, then next Saturday, Stockport, then Huddersfield at home, Blackpool away. The next 4 games. It's a really crucial period, this, Kieran.
Yeah, absolutely. Luton are pushing for the playoffs. Huddersfield are up there as well. Blackpool are struggling, so that's already when you mentioned it, I outlined that one as a crucial game, really, at the bottom. But ultimately, we need to just pick up points. We're talking about the new manager coming in and establishing his ideas, but I'm not too fussed about that as long as we get the points that we need initially just to get us up the table and out and away of that relegation zone. That's what matters to me. But yeah, an absolutely crucial period, and now we've got that game out of the way today, we can just focus solely on keeping our League One status, which is what we need to do. Don't get me wrong, some tough games in there, but Wigan, I think Emerson just mentioned it then about surviving relegation and things like that. It's something that we've done a lot in the past, so hopefully we can summon some of that spirit going towards the end of the season.
Can you do it, Chris? What sort of gives you your gut instinct? What's it telling you and why?
If any club can do it, it's us. There used to be a running joke, didn't there, that Wigan turned into prime Barcelona from February onwards. We can do it. We've certainly done it. And if anyone has done it, Gary playing alongside Emerson at times in the Premier League when we did it year in, year out. I think over the next 4 games, we need to perhaps go back to basics, be solid, try and be hard to beat, and see if you can grind out a draw here or there, or just I don't know, it's hard to say off the back of conceding 4 this afternoon early on against Arsenal, but if we can go and be more solid, I'm not necessarily saying it's the formation or whatever, 2 banks of 4 and just be solid and look to try and eke out some results against some of those clubs, like you say, that are up there in the playoffs, and it can give us a bit of confidence. I think we need a bit of confidence back in terms of not conceding, trying to not concede, because we did quite well earlier on in the season and had a decent run start of the season of being solid and not conceding goals. Tickle's great in net, but it can't all be on him.
And Emerson, that word confidence gets talked about an awful lot because it is important, of course. How can the players draw from, perhaps, as we say, the second half? How can whoever comes in give them that confidence, and does it come? Do you feel that as a player, that history, if there's been a great history of winning things or surviving or whatever it might be that you're known for, playing like Barcelona from February, whatever it might be, does that sort of play into the psyche and the mindset from a player's point of view?
Yeah, definitely. I think Graham Barrow mentioned it earlier about the mentality. This stage of the season, I used to love it. The pressure, against all odds. I used to go out and enjoy the pressure of it. The players now to go and embrace it is a challenge that they need to take on. The club's going to be behind him. New manager's going to be there. The fans are going to be behind him, and they're good enough to get out of this position they're in. I think as long as they can, turn up on Wednesday, get a bit of confidence back into them, probably have a new philosophy of way of playing, and obviously just try and get the results that they need. I'm more than sure they're good enough to get out of this situation they're in now.
Well, Kieran, Chris, really appreciate your time and all your insights and thoughts, looking back and looking ahead from a Latics fan's perspective. So thank you both for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
No worries. Thank you.
And Emerson, lovely to have you with us, and really enjoyed hearing you look back on your special and some difficult as well as football is, FA Cup memories and memories with all the clubs that you've played for. So thank you so much for joining us on BBC Radio Manchester today. Thank you.
No problem at all. Anytime. Emerson
Boyce there, who was alongside Bill Rice as part of your commentary team. Right, let's do a quick round up then. FA Cup fourth round. So Oxford United were beaten 1-0 by Sunderland. Stoke were beaten 2-1 by Fulham. It finished 1-1 between Birmingham and Leeds, but Leeds went on to win that one 4-2 on penalties, and Wolves beat Grimsby 1-0. In the WSL, Manchester United beat London City Lionesses 2-1. Now Super League returned this weekend, and today it was the turn of Wigan Warriors to open their account. They won 26-16 at Castleford Tigers. And let's hear what Matty Peet, head coach, had to say after that one.
Pleased with the result, pleased with the performance, room for improvement. Probably just went right. I would have accepted that on the way over in terms of my thoughts on it. And there's elements of our game that we're working on which were improved today, I thought. And I like the character. We were tested early on by it's a challenging place to come, good team, sticky pitch, so it was a bit to overcome, and we did.
Yeah, absolutely. What pleased you most of all? You seem to do better in the second half, if you don't mind me suggesting that.
Yeah, but I thought even in the first half, I thought we asked a lot of questions at Castleford. We built a lot of pressure, took a lot of energy. Yeah, they did. We took a lot of energy out of them, and defensively we were in good shape. Our last players were good, so we knew we put them in a tough spot, and so it proved at the start of the second half.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of an intimidating place to come, and I don't mean that unkindly. You'll have been here a few times. Wigan been here for all teams, not just Wigan.
It's a challenging place to come, the proud team, proud club. The pitch is a little bit different, so there's plenty to contend with, but there's a lot of teams who'll come here and have a tough day, no doubt, and we've never had it easy here.
What have you made of the opening weekend of Super League 30, Matty?
To be honest, I don't know if it's just because I've missed it, but I have enjoyed the games. I think there's more fatigue knocking around, a bit more uncertainty and opportunity for attacking players, so it's going to take everyone a while to adjust to it, but I think it's been a positive start. Obviously the so-called underdogs have shaken a few up, which was a threat today.
Certainly, what an interesting start there's been to Super League. That was Matty Peet talking to Jack Dearden. Now, Macclesfield FC manager John Rooney, we heard from earlier. They've got a huge game, so we'll hear from him tomorrow. But a player who's already had the media scrutiny in a cup competition is defender Luke Matheson. As a 16-year-old, he scored for Rochdale at Old Trafford in the League Cup. So how does this compare?
Oh, it's been insanity. It's just been a full-blown media explosion. I'm kind of lucky in a sense that I've kind of experienced that before, so I know how to deal with it in a sense. But for a few of the boys, I think it's been just a whirlwind of emotions in a sense. Just I can't even really put it into words what it feels like for us, but we're just excited.
Yeah, just tell us about that from yourself in terms of, obviously, FA Cup, you reached the 4th round before at Rochdale, took Newcastle to a replay, League Cup, of course, scoring for Dell at Old Trafford as well. Have those experiences, do they help you kind of through this media scrutiny, and have you passed on to your teammates?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call it a quote-unquote help. It's more just you've experienced it and you kind of know what to expect in a sense. I've been lucky enough that I actually get to do this multiple times because, some boys, you get one of these in your career and, that's what you look forward to. I've been lucky enough that this has now be my 4th game against a Prem team. So in a sense like that, I'd want this every year. If this could happen every year, I'd be over the moon because you're doing something right as a player and you're getting the moment that you live for in football.
The moments you live for, goodness me. It was absolutely incredible last time, didn't it? And it went beyond sports. It just transferred right across where people from all walks of life were just so excited about this fairy tale story. That is what the FA Cup can deliver. Amazing stuff. So there'll be more reaction on Breakfast with Joe tomorrow. That's in the morning, of course, from 6. Then tomorrow night, the mighty Macclesfield, following that huge FA Cup upset in the last round to knock out the holders, no less, Crystal Palace. They get the chance to create more FA Cup magic and history against Brentford. Commentary on BBC Radio Manchester from 7:30, and of course we'll have all the build-up with Gaz and Emily on Total Sport from 6. Sadly, FA Cup run is over for Latics as they were defeated 4-0 by Arsenal, so their focus will shift to survival in League One. But catch Gaz and Emily tomorrow from 6.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker,
Play BBC Radio Manchester.
and on your radio.
The sound of Manchester is
BBC Radio Manchester.
BBC News at 7 o'clock. This is Harvey Cook. Great Britain has won its 2nd gold medal of the day at the Winter Olympics after Matt Weston and Tabby Stoker claimed victory in the mixed team skeleton. It means Team GB has, for the first time, won 3 gold medals at a Winter Olympics, with 2 of them belonging to Matt Weston. This was the moment they made British Olympic history.
He's quicker than Young. 2 bends to go. Matt Weston for Great Britain. It's goal again. It's gold once more. This is indeed a Super Sunday. Matt Weston and Tabby Stoker have won a gold medal.
The former Liberal Democrat leader, Sir Vince Cable, has urged the police to check if criminal corruption took place while Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was a trade envoy. Newly released documents suggest the former prince forwarded government documents and other commercial information to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, where Mr Cable was business secretary. Mr Mountbatten Windsor has previously denied any wrongdoing. The Labour peer Baroness Helena Kennedy Casey says he's undoubtedly being given legal advice.
I suspect he didn't listen to legal advice or ignored legal advice when he did his interview with Emily Maitlis, and that got him into serious deep water. But lawyers giving advice to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor are going to be saying to him, in no circumstances should you be putting yourself in a position where you're going to be answering questions, because there's going to be the issue of self-incrimination.
Iran says its foreign minister is travelling to Geneva for a second round of indirect talks with the United States over Tehran's nuclear program. Saeed Abbas-Araghchi will attend discussions on Tuesday with the US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Trump's senior advisor Jared Kushner. Earlier, the Iranian deputy foreign minister said his country was open to compromise if sanctions were lifted, but would not discuss its ballistic missile program, one of Israel's key demands. Several children have been treated in hospital in North London after what health officials say is a fast-spreading outbreak of measles. About a third of the nearly 100 cases of the virus reported in England this year have been in Enfield. Our reporter Barry Caffrey has more.
This outbreak in schools and nurseries in Enfield had resulted in some children having to attend hospital. And since the beginning of this year, there were 34 laboratory-confirmed cases, and now more than 60 suspected cases of measles have been reported by 7 schools and 1 nursery.
In rugby union, Wales has suffered a 13th successive Six Nations defeat after France scored 8 tries to win 54 points to 12 in Cardiff. The result leaves France on track for a Six Nations Grand Slam. So to the weather. Well, tonight we'll see the last of the rain and hail snow clear to the northeast, leaving variable cloud cover and some scattered showers. It'll be less cold than last night. And that's the BBC News at 3 minutes past 7.
The The sound.
The sound